and welcome. Let's make sure that everyone can hear me and we'll be moving right along. Okay, God bless everyone. Welcome to the last show for the year of 2024. That's right. It's the New Year special, Transparency Matters. So, welcome to you and Happy New Year to all of you. Um, we'll just get right into it. Before we get started, let me say hello to everyone here. Happy to see you. We got Don McKenzie, Wendy DB, Indy Cindy, Silenced, Dawn Steele, Tracy Thornton, Carol, Audra Kessler, Lisa, Amy, L'Oreal, Oleg Cat, Malibu, Bonnie, Lowered Customs, David Gray, Nicole, Deputy Dog, Starlight Synchronicity, Judith Galloway. All right, we got Corner Piece, Pam, Fur Baby Daddy, Moonbeam 70s Child, Faith Ross, and hey, anyone else? Welcome to you. Mary Martin, hello. If you're in the Lurker crew, please go ahead and join the chat here. I'm trying to check into the other channel and make sure that we have the support pathways posted up in the chat. So let me check on that. All right, let's see. All right, now, good, good, good. All right, welcome everyone. There you go. So we are good to go. What's up? Who else we have in here? We got V, Ninja, Warrior Assassin, Bobby Smith, Kelly, Miss John Snow, Rick, Heather Brown, Melon, that one dude 7'5". All right, Kelly, and everyone else, as I said. Welcome to everyone. I'm glad to see you guys. All right, so there are some things. I'm running a little behind here, actually. Um, I'm trying to have this stuff up for you. Let's see. One more. All right, so we'll put. There we go. What's up, Nicole? Yes, happy New Year to everyone. Sweet dude Shibby, what's up? Mudbug, what's up? Regina Grady Bolden, and what's up, Kay? All right, good to see everybody. Now let's see what we got here. I got to get this one. Everything takes time here. All right, so where are we? There we go. All right, so let's see. Good, good, good. I see everyone. Jamie Blair, what's up? True Tammy. All right, and hey, Christina. All right, so what are you guys up to? So, Happy New Year. So tonight we're going to be doing a little looking at something very interesting. Uh, so as you can see, we got a little troll farm warfare underway. Troll farm warfare. You guys know what that is? You may or may not remember me describing to you how the troll farm has weaponized the copyright strike system. And so one of the newest troll farm members, Hidden True Crime, has weaponized, taken a lesson from Troll Farm, and has weaponized the copyright strike system. Uh, this right here is just a sampling. Okay, uh, I believe I saw 5 today. Okay, so there were several of these handed out today, uh, because apparently some people have a problem with criticism. Okay, so many of our friends woke up this morning to this message. Okay, um, because a certain someone doesn't want their interview with a certain other someone to be criticized online by those who are unfriendly to the narrative, okay, or to the gaslighting. So several of us woke up to this sort of thing, but luckily not me, because I learned my lesson. Okay, I learned that you don't mess with you don't mess around with Troll Farm, because they have weaponized the copyright strike system. And when you're shilling for Jerry Holman and Nick McClellan, I guess you get a little upset at anyone who comes to point out the errors. Okay, so what I decided to do, and I would like to thank Sleuthy Goosey. Okay, the wonderful Sleuthy Goosey has put this together for us. And this will be my gift to you, this beautiful New Year's evening, right? My gift to you will be a workaround, and strike me, bitch. So that's my message. Strike me, okay? Because you ain't gonna handle this, okay? You ain't gonna handle this one. So what we will do is, I was already planning on doing this. So let me pull this down a moment. So I got to tell you guys, I was already planning on doing this. My intentions were to go ahead and get the transcript of said interview, quote unquote, and go ahead and do a line by line takedown. But thanks to Sleuthy Goosey, I don't have to do so because she's done it for me. Uh, so yeah, so here we go. So we're going to whoop ass, so to speak, and do a line by line takedown of the Transparency Matters interview with Jerry Holman, which was more like a PR advertisement piece than an actual interview. But anywho, so here we go. I'm pretty sure this is small for most of. I know most of you watch on your phones. Of course, if you're on your phones, this is going to be illegible. But don't worry, I'm not missing a word. Okay, I will not miss a word here. Uh, this right here will also save those of you who have not had the patience to listen to it yourself, because the two people with the two most punchable faces in true crime on the screen at the same time make it pretty upsetting to watch. And I must admit that I had a very difficult time listening to even 5 minutes. So I understand many of you have probably not even listened to it. So because of that, I'll do the read through for you, and I will make sure to add my commentary where I deem appropriate. Okay. So here we go with the New Year's special, Transparency Matters. Okay. So I'm going to abbreviate our speakers in these following ways. Uh, Our host, I will call host. And our Jer Holman, I will call Holman. Okay. And so hopefully that clears it up for you guys. Okay. Um, so the following is a very gay introduction. But since it's a woman speaking, I'm not, I guess she gets away with sounding gay because she's a woman. So I'll give her that one. I'll give her that one. Okay. So hello, hidden gems, says host. We have a very special program for you today because we have a very special interview. Yes, special quote unquote interview, quote unquote. I am with Lieutenant. The titles give credibility to most people who titles matter. Okay. Uh, uh, to whom titles matter, the title lieutenant before the name has meaning, but for me, it means nothing. But nevertheless, uh, she was sure to include the title here. Lieutenant Jerry Holman, who is a big investigator. Big in which way? Do you mean in terms of mass and a figure in the Delphi case, in the murders of Abby and Libby? And you testified at trial how many times? So many times at the trial in Delphi. Holman, at the actual trial, I think I testified twice. Ha 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 ha. But all the hearings leading up to it, I've testified multiple times at all the hearings. Every hearing, I believe, I testified at, to include the second hearing, but at the trial, I believe only twice. Host, only twice. Okay. It seemed like more, but then you also were a witness at the sentencing that where we just attended, which I want to ask you about. We have so many questions for who's we, um, actually. So thank you for taking this time with me and with Hidden True Crime. Wait, aren't you one and the same? We appreciate it so much. Sounds fake. And I want to start by thanking you for the work you did on this case. It's actually you've done, but I'll not be a grammar Nazi tonight. And you have been with the Indiana State Police since 2001. And you also have a robust military career as well. You joined the Marine Corps right after school. Is that correct? Does that mean no college? Uh, Holman, yes, that is correct. Yes, unfortunately, seems like some slob nobbing here, but anyway. Well, thank you for your service. And man, so many questions, says host, because you know, and I know, man, the internet has been kind of like the wild, wild west when it comes to this case from the very beginning. No, it's because the troll farm has been on the internet from before day one, creating chaos in these streets. That's why, young lady. And what really matters the most, though, is that two little girls' lives were taken. Well, we do agree on one thing. We do agree on one thing. Yeah, that's what matters most. I do agree with that. Shocking that there isn't a point of agreement here. But questions do surround the investigation. Oh, you bet your sweet ass. You bet your sweet ass they do. And there hasn't been a lot of answers for the public. You goddamn right there haven't. And we're here because the gag order has been lifted. And so we have questions. Yeah, you know what? I have questions too. Can I get Jerry Holman to sit his ass on my channel and do a answer a question and answer session? Or is he only going to go on the pre-approved narrative spinning, insane, bloodlusty, troll farm, law enforcement shilling troll channels? Let's start first off, Lieutenant Holman, if that's okay with you, how you got involved in this case. Take me back to February 14th, 2017. Can we please skip the pretending to be a journalist? Okay. Holman. Okay, yeah. So at the time, I was the District Investigative Commander, or DIC, for the Lafayette Post. So I oversee all investigations that the state police are involved in. And we quite often assist other counties. So if we hear about something, we'll reach out to the sheriffs or investigators of those counties. And at the time, it was February 14th, and I was on my way to the Lafayette Post. And I heard on the radio, on the news, that were two missing girls in Carroll County. So it was probably 8 in the morning. I reached out to Sheriff Lesenby, you mean Tobe, at the time, and asked him if they needed assistance. And he said at that time they didn't. They had a large number of volunteers looking and searching the area that they were last seen. And I said, okay, well, if you need anything, let us know. And probably a couple hours after that phone call, I received a phone call from Captain Kirkman. Are you kidding? Captain Kirk, who is now retired, but he was the Area 1 captain, was one of my supervisors at the time. And he said they were requesting a helicopter and wanted investigators over there to find out what was going on. So myself and my sergeant, Steve Buckley, headed over there. I got there first and met with Tony Liggett and Kevin Hammond, and also spoke with the sheriff. You mean Tobe? Okay. And they said, well, we're just searching. We don't know what happened, and asking questions and things like that. So that was my first involvement in the investigation. So, question, Jer. How were they not found from sun up until 12:15 or so? How is that possible? Because that area is very small. The trail goes directly to the crime scene, quote unquote. And we know that they would have been found within 15 minutes. Okay. Host. Okay, and you were involved then, should we say, up until this moment, always involved in the investigation? What kind of question is that? I believe you mean, okay, and so this was the moment that you became involved in the investigation. That's the way you say it. Holman, yes. I've always been involved in it for the last 7 years and 10 months. We never left the site. It was at the bottom of the hill, down the hill. Once the girls were located, myself and Sergeant Buckley got there rather early. There were some other officers there. We got the scene secure, and other officers were putting up crime scene tape and things like that. And then we had the opportunity to meet with Tony Liggett and Kevin Hammond. Okay, so are you saying at the time, you're saying that crime scene was not secured until you got there? Okay, check. And at that time, I said, hey, are you guys going to be the lead in this, or do you want us to be? And I can't remember which one, and I refused to ask, but one of them said, you guys should probably be the lead. But the other one said, let's talk to the sheriff. And later, Tobe came and said, I think it's our county. We'll be the lead. But will you promise to give us all the resources you have? And I said, yes, I will. This sounds like narrative spinning already, does it not? Does this not sound already like narrative spinning? I mean, come on. I read a lot. I think and I said, yes, I will. We will not leave you, and we'll give you everything we have. The state police is a much larger organization. We have a lot more resources available to include our laboratory and crime scene investigators and things like that. Public information officers, more detectives. So I said, yeah, we're not going to leave you. And I meant that, and we didn't. Oh, so how could you explain then the fact that your crime scene investigators left sticks with blood on them in a pile discarded in the woods like it was nothing? Missed a bullet like it was nothing. Possibly didn't collect all the DNA that you should have. Possibly missed some crucial trail cameras and other cameras in the area. But sure, you did a great job. Sure. Good thing for the Indiana State Police being here. I mean, what would they have done without the Indiana State Police in this entire debacle? Host, can I ask you at the crime scene what your first thoughts were when it came to maybe the type of crime this was? Is that fair to ask? I didn't tell you I was going to ask that, but so are we admitting that all of these questions were pre-approved? Because it's very clear that there were many edits in this pre-recorded interview. So not only were there many edits in the pre-record, you're also saying that the questions were pre-approved. Ah, figure that. I mean, it is a PR advertisement anyway. Remember, transparency matters. Um, Thank you, Mudbug. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair, says Holman. Yeah, I've been asked that type of question multiple times. And I think that my answer is I was very angry that another human being could treat two human beings like that. Two young, innocent girls. Well, I gotta say, Jerry, uh, that's another one that we agree on. That's another one that we absolutely agree on. It's absolutely infuriating that anyone would treat those two little girls that way and leave them in the woods that way. It is. I've been involved in many traumatic events, crashes, homicides, domestic batteries throughout the years, and also a Marine for 8 years. So I've become a little bit compartmentalized, I believe, on traumatic events. So the actual scene itself doesn't haunt me or bother me, really. Seems like it would. It bothers me. It's just the anger outweighs all the other emotions that I may have because I just don't understand how any human being, put an S on that, could treat other human beings like that. So I was just angry about that and not knowing why somebody could do that. You mean somebody's, and probably not Richard Allen. But you've already decided that it was him and only him. That's for another time, later time. Okay. The scene itself, I knew it was going to be a very tough investigation because of the location. It's out in the middle of nowhere. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's in Ron Logan's backyard. Hello. There wasn't going to be a lot of witnesses. Oh, there were witnesses. There were many. See, that's where the lies. The lies. And it turned out to be there wasn't a lot of cameras around. Oh, there were. Or a lot of evidence that we could follow up on. All there was. So I knew it was going to be a very intensive investigation. It's going to labor intensive investigation. It's going to take a lot of old fashioned detective work. That's kind of what my first thoughts were. Oh, odd. Odd. It's very odd for you to say because I kind of seem to remember your prosecutor, Robert Ives, specifically saying that this was the kind of thing that you would think in 1960 would be been solved in a matter of days. I seem to remember that. So you're kind of conflicting there. You're kind of conflicting with your prosecutor, Robert Ives. So either it was going to be intensive, labor intensive, take a lot of work, wasn't going to be easy, or it was going to be something that you would have thought could have been solved very quickly within a matter of days, even in 1960. As a matter of fact, um, remember, Robert Ives said that there were many nights when guys didn't go home because they said, hey, within the next few hours, we're going to get what we need and this will be solved. So, why is your story conflicting with Rob Ives? Host, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And we're going to get into, honestly, let me say this first. There was something that you said before we started that I want to share. And that is that you said, you have nothing to hide. You have nothing to hide. Interesting. Someone want to write this down in their notebook? Okay, whoever's taking notes, write this one down because this is a major talking point. Okay, she's repeating his talking point here. You have nothing to hide. You have nothing to hide. And so with that, thank you for that. And I think I want to go through all the different scenarios of possibilities with this crime. From Odinism to Keegan to the landowner. But where did your mind go to? What type of person did this? Did you think right away ritualistic crime because of sticks? Or did you think that this was like a sexual motive? Or where did your law enforcement brain or military brain take you when you were assessing this crime? Holman. Initially, I think I and a lot of others thought that it was a failed sexual assault and maybe a kidnapping attempt. Okay, put that in your notebooks as well. And just because of the way the girls were found, one completely naked, the other had clothes off and put some others on it. And so I think that's where my mind went. I always thought it was one person. Bullshit. Bullshit. I mean, I'm ready to end the can I just end the show? I don't think I can make it past page 2. I mean, this the level of narrative spinning and gaslight here is so off the charts. But I didn't want to put blinders on. So I kept an open mind and thought maybe it could be multiple. But as the investigation went on, it was clear to me that one person was capable and did do this. Yeah, it sounds like what you'd say right now because you're trying to justify the railroading and conviction of Richard Allen. So hopefully you got your notebooks out, okay? Because this is the time for the notebooks. Oh, thank you for the who is that? Thank you to that one dude 75. Happy New Year, chat and prof. Thank you, Mudbug. Thanks, that one dude 75. I'm telling you, it's just hard to do this because I want to scream and yell and throw something at the wall in every statement. Um, okay, back to notebooks. Let's see. So the Odinist, the ritualistic killing thing, you see, using language like that is an attempt to discount it. Oh, that ritualistic killing thing. I never believed that. Okay, so that's you see what he's doing. He's trying to say, no, I never believed it was more than one person, and I never believed it was a ritualistic thing. And here comes the biggest gaslight of all. Our crime scene investigators told us early on that the blood on the tree was blood splatter, that it was not initially painted on there or put on there. Well, hold on. Okay, so I'm not letting that one slide. Sorry. Sorry, I'm not letting that one slide. It's worth the trouble to do this. Just a moment. Okay, because I just, but put that in your notebooks. Okay, make sure you put that in the notebooks. Uh, According to him, it was always blood spatter. There's absolutely nothing nefarious about it. It's blood spatter, right? Okay. Let's see. Let me grab this for you if I am able to. Who knows? I might fail at this. I often fail to find what I'm looking for. Oh, here we go. Okay. It'll only take a moment to get this together. Let's see. Because I'm doing this for the first timers. Okay, those of you who are longtime viewers, you already know. You don't need me to hold your hands through this. But somebody says pubes hates everyone. What is my chat devolving into when I'm distracted? Pubes does hate everyone. Oh my God, pubes. Is pubes relevant? I mean, Okay, let's see. Sorry, I thought pubes was irrelevant. Um, okay. Okay, do you see that? Do you see that? Now, that's supposed to be the splatter or spatter. What does he say? That was blood spatter. Our crime scene investigators told us early on that the blood on the tree was blood spatter, that it was not initially painted on there or put on there. Looks like it's put there. I mean, those are right angles, are they not? Do you see right angles? I mean, that looks like a very definitive mark. Like it's someone did this and maybe this or maybe this and this. Okay, but that's supposed to be bloods. That's just blood that ended up being splattered. That's the gaslight we're going with. I mean, that looks like the most straight line you could possibly think about this. That's a rough texture, is it not? That's the bark of a tree. Do you think it's easy to make a perfectly straight line on the bark of a tree? Or do you think it would take some effort to make a straight line? How about a right angle? How about multiple right angles? Because it seems to me that if I was to try to do this, the line would waver because of the bark of the tree is going to make your finger travel like into the little divots and whatnot. So it seems like this is a very specific attempt to do that, and it was done well. You could tell the difference. They could, I mean, you and I maybe not because that's not our specialty. But our crime scene investigators at the time, Jason Page, had plenty of training in blood spatter. And I would say he's a blood spatter expert. So he was saying that wasn't a symbol. Put that in your notebooks. Check. Not a symbol. That's another talking point. Okay, that's another talking point. Not a symbol. According to blood spatter expert. Okay, not a symbol. That's another talking point. But again, we didn't rule it out. Now here it gets even crazier. Okay, I can pull this down from them. Here it gets even crazier. Listen to this one. Listen, because this shit gets so insane. The sticks to me look like just sticks randomly put on there with no purpose. And that's what our crime scene investigators were telling us as well. What? Hold on. Those sticks also form right angles on Libby's body. And the ones on Abby's body form a definitive asterisk shape, which is identically matched by the sticks that are also over the pool of blood near the girls. So there's a pool of blood that has the three sticks arranged like an asterisk that identically matches the three sticks placed on Abby, one of which has a clean cut sawed off edge. And the sticks on Libby have right angles, just like the mark on the tree. The sticks to me look just like sticks randomly put on there with no purpose. And that's what our crime scene investigators were telling us as well. Well, it's funny because I don't think the FBI thought that. And I don't think Jeffrey Turkle thought that. And I don't think the professor from Harvard thought that. So I didn't believe it was realistic or ritualistic. But again, we weren't going to leave any stones unturned. So we did a thorough investigation. Talking point, we did a thorough investigation. Check. Did research on that and behavior analysis units, professors, people that specialize in those types of investigations. Yeah, and what did they say? They said it did seem like it's someone's idea of what a ritual would be. And they were telling us that it's just not realistic that it would be, because if it was, there'd be no doubt. It would be so obvious that it was. Well, it is fucking obvious. Anybody would come and say, "Hey, I think it's this. Can you look into it?" Yeah, go ahead and look. Let us know what you say. But no one could ever prove that it was some sort of ritualistic killing. I think it's very clear that those are ritualistic signatures. Now, the question becomes, is it authentic because the killing was ritualistic, or is it part of the staging? That's the actual question. That's the question everyone should be asking, not whether it is or whether it isn't. The question should be, yes, it appears to be. So the question becomes, is it authentically ritualistic signatures, or were those part of the staging to set up some people who would do these sorts of things? This is why people are furious about this case. Okay, here we come with some narrative pushing. Now, because Brad Holder and Patrick Westphal were involved in Norse paganism religion, some people jumped to a conclusion that that's automatically what they do. Well, that's just not true. And I had no clue about those religions back then. But doing research and being updated on that it's a religion, it's not a cult, it's not a gang, and they don't believe in human sacrifices. So we pretty much ruled it out, but kept an open mind. That's my initial thought on. Do you think they would tell you that they believe in human sacrifices? I mean, it's like straw man. It's like they've set up these straw man arguments. This whole alleged interview. It's just a PR piece. It's advertising for the state here. Good point there. They were going to pass it off. That's why they left it. Yeah, good point. They left the sticks behind because that was never supposed to be brought into this. Mm. All right. Like I said, you could go through this, and you should, with a fine tooth comb and a notebook, and you should write down every talking point that they're pushing here. It's very important. Lieutenant Tillman, here we go with the titles again, says our host. Something that you've said before, and you actually said in trial, is that you left no stone unturned in this investigation. You mean this sham, this thing you call an investigation? Are you going to ask him about the 70 days of deleted interviews? Uh, yeah, I didn't think so. Something you've said before, and you actually said in trials that you left no stone unturned in this investigation. But if there was a probable cause, you move forward. So are you saying that you absolutely did investigate this sort of ritualistic killing scenario and there wasn't probable cause? Or how would you explain that? Holman. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good explanation. What is? We had tips on numerous different people not related to ritualistic killings, and some people thought were involved, like I said, in that religion, and basically just didn't know what the religion was about. Wait up. Are you calling it a religion? Hold up, fuckface. Sounds to me like you're falling for it. You- You're calling this a religion? So you're buying into the fact that it's a legit religion. Okay. Interesting. Interesting self reveal, Holman. But yeah, we looked into those people, multiple interviews with multiple different people. Yeah, and you deleted them all so we couldn't go back and check them, double check them, right? And the only person that we established probable cause to make an arrest on was Richard Allen. Right. By by twisting and manipulating witness statements, omitting witness testimony, and straight up lying on the PCA. That's your probable cause? The rest we didn't. And we're not going to falsely arrest somebody or falsely accuse people without establishing probable cause. Oh, no, 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 no. You will falsely arrest people and falsely accuse. Because for you, probable cause is a matter of paperwork. Like you started to say earlier, we looked into the property owner, multiple people, and we served multiple search warrants on people and people's property. And again, nothing came back to establish probable cause. Neither did at Richard Allen's. Neither did at Richard Allen's. Can we be real here? So again, we're not going to have tunnel vision. I think you will. You chose to have tunnel vision directed solely on Richard Allen. But we're also not going to falsely arrest somebody. I think you did. I mean, this is like host. Okay. So, in other words, I just want to kind of like process that with our listeners too. That there was a base, there was an idea, that there was an investigation that this could be ritualistic. And the bottom line is, you went through the evidence, you assessed, you investigated. Was there anything, any hiding at this time of information or evidence when it comes to this? I'm bringing up all the theories online. Yeah, no, 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 none whatsoever. We looked into them. There was no evidence indicating that those people that practice that religion were involved. Once again, we're calling it a religion. And the evidence at the scene wasn't strong enough to indicate that it was a ritualistic killing. I believe it was. I was actually going to try to go in order here, says the host. Oh, order of what? Order of the pre-approved questions? But since we're on sort of what you're talking about, what about this idea of another person confessing or the possibility of someone else saying my DNA is at the crime scene? I think you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, fucking Elvis Fields. Come on, man. Holman. Yeah, I think absolutely. Somebody saying that if my spit's on at the crime scene, but I can explain that away, doesn't mean that that's a clue that we need to go back and talk to that person again. And that person was interviewed multiple times by multiple different people. And his explanation was he wanted to know if I spit on the ground and someone scoops that spit up and takes it to a crime scene, would you be able to tell that? That was his explanation. What? No, that sounds like what someone would say after they realized they said some stupid shit to a cop. That was his explanation. Right, right. After he realized he fucked up and said something he shouldn't have. And that person had never been to Delphi. How do you know that? How do you know that he had never been to Delphi? We could never put that person into Delphi. Really? How do you know he's never been to Delphi? That seems a little odd to make a statement like that. I think again, probable cause goes a long way. No, it doesn't. Probable cause is a paperwork protocol. Let's be real here. You're talking about paperwork. You're ignoring the confessions to his sisters that Stephanie Thompson would have had knowledge of. Is that why she's dead? You just can't say because this person knows this person knows this person knows this person conspired to commit a crime. You can't put them together. They don't know each other. Just because one knows somebody kind of sort of and that person knows another person, there's no proof of evidence indicating that they were in some sort of club, organization, or cult or gang to do that. So we investigated that very thoroughly. Yeah, but I don't no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Uh see, you're doing another straw man argument there. You're trying to say that that these people's argument is that this person knows this person knows this person knows this person, and that's how they do things. No, it's not. This isn't about who knows who knows who knows who. You're making a ridiculous position and then trying to argue that ridiculous position as being what you're arguing against. Todd Click, Kevin Murphy, and before Greg Ferenczi was brutally murdered, all those people were looking into it, and others and other investigators, me included. We were looking into that very thoroughly. No, you weren't. Don't put the we in there. How dare you shit on his name? How dare you shit on his name? You should say, Greg Ferenczi, rest in peace. Todd Click and Kevin Murphy looked into that very thoroughly. Don't put yourself in it because that's horseshit. Bottom line is there was no connection in your mind. Mm-mm. All right. No direct criminal nexus in that group of people that, in my opinion, the defense came out and false. The defense didn't falsely accuse shit. The defense presented a defense with the judge did not that the judge did not allow into trial that was based upon the law enforcement work of Todd Click, Kevin Murphy, and Greg Ferenczi. So the way that you're trying to spin it is pretty revealing here. Why are you all trying to spin that angle that the defense was being mean? We looked into it and covered those people very thoroughly. Yeah, no, not buying it. Not buying it at all. Not even a little. Yeah, and we mentioned property owner Ron Logan. I'll just say his name, Ron Logan. You know, still to this day, people say, well, I think it's him. I think it's him. Police search his house, and you're saying as far as probable cause goes, you cannot tie him to the crime. Is that correct? Holman, that is correct. Several search warrants on him and his property. There's no direct nexus to him being involved either. Well, I believe that. But I think he had knowledge of what happened. See, he had knowledge. Ron Logan maintained common nuisances of Brad Holder, Garrett Kurtz, Ashley Garth, etc. Ron Logan probably exactly knew what happened, exactly knew when it happened, which is why he left. So, yeah, no direct nexus that he was involved, but I guarantee you he had knowledge. He had an alibi. It was tight, but he was, at certain places that we were able to prove during that time. So it would have made him very, very difficult for him to be at the crime scene during the crimes. So we looked into it again, searched his house and found no evidence connecting him to the crime scene or the crimes. Yeah, but here's a problem with that too. Here's a problem. You don't know what time this crime happened. You can't even answer when's the time of death of these girls. You can't even give a definitive time of death. So how in the fuck can you establish whether someone was there or not when the girls were killed? I mean, dude, you got to be expecting people to be crazy to believe this. Shit. I can't even stomach this, man. This is going to take way too long to get through. All right, what's next? Thank you for sharing that, says our host. I'm sure this feels that we can all rinse and repeat for a lot of law enforcement as you've investigated this. But for those of us in the true crime community, there's no such thing. Please stop using that term. Please. I don't like that word. It's offensive. True crime community, it doesn't exist. And those of us covering this, you don't cover the case, okay? You shill for Jerry Holman, Nick McClellan, Doug Carter, and Judge Gull, and everyone who wants Richard Allen dead. That's what you do, woman. Okay. It's sort of discontinuous conversation, and we've been waiting, for the gag order to be lifted to ask these questions once again. So thank you for indulging these questions that might feel like repeat to you. I appreciate it. But it's so how important was the evidence of Bridge Guy? And by that, I'm saying how important was the evidence that Libby herself, the victim, brought into the investigation? Or are we going with the gaslight presumption that she's a hero because she intentionally filmed Bridge Guy? And are we going again with the assumption that Bridge Guy had anything to do with these murders? If it's even a guy? All right. Holman, I'm getting all worked up. I'm sorry. Well, very important, very, very important, very, very, very important. We're gonna make her a fucking hero. We're gonna make her a hero because she didn't die a hero, so we're gonna make her a hero. It's part of the gaslight narrative to make people hate Richard Allen, to make those girls heroes. And like Prosecutor McClellan said, and I've said it before, the girls are the true heroes in this case. No, they're the true victims. Look, those girls are the true victims of this case. They're no heroes. Not you and not the dead girls. Those girls are truly victims. You don't have to fetishize them and make them into some sort of fantasy world heroes, pretending that Abby hid the phone under her body as she was dying, but somehow managed to clean it off first, even though she had bloody hands. Or pretending that Libby was so genius and such a sleuth that she recorded this Bridge Guy figment of imagination, that because she wanted to preserve a record of someone who was stalking them. Like we can let that shit die. Okay. I hate people saying, "Oh, you're a hero." No, I didn't do anything special. Oh, we finally agree on something. Yes. Yeah, you're no fucking hero. I followed up on evidence and facts. No, you didn't. No, you covered up evidence and facts. Who did something special was Liberty and Abby. No, they didn't. They all they did was become victimized by some monsters. Okay. Thank you, 26 Dead Zombies. Thank you, Sweet Dude Shibby, and everyone else who's here. Thank you. I want to say thank you to Jenny, Heather Brown, Ninja Warrior Assassin, and Lead with Love. Thank you. Okay. Jeez, I've lost my place in the chat. I get too worked up, so I'm all worked up now, and I'm no good. Okay. Let's see. Where was I here? And to be able to be a 14-year-old girl and have the awareness to turn your phone on and videotape that, obviously they were in fear of their lives. And why are you running? Why are you guys running with this fantasy world? Those girls were heroes. Like, dude, we've talked to people who've seen the original video with their own two eyes, and it is very clear the girls are not afraid, and the girls did not intentionally record Bridge Guy. Can we please stop fantasizing about these victims? But he ends up telling the truth here. Watch this. Thank you, Leave with Love. And from day one, after we got that video, wait for it, a lot of us, me included, believed that that was the person that killed the girls. Ah, truth does rise to the surface. You believed. You all believed that that little tiny ant-sized figment far away from the girls in the background that's accidentally filmed for half a second, you believed that that person had something to do. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for telling the truth for once. Yeah, if she had done that, it wouldn't have needed to be enhanced. If Libby was honestly afraid and honestly wanted to film someone who was approaching them, she would have taken the phone out. She would have turned the camera on, held it on the subject, and maybe even zoomed in and got him. Wait until you see the real one. Wait until you see it. And here he goes back into fantasy world here. And we knew up until we found the tip and the information from Richard Allen, we knew that if we found Bridge Guy, see, they even gave this character a name. Have you ever noticed that in this fictional scenario, in this work of art, this work of fiction, they actually created a character called Bridge Guy. That's why I don't like using the term. I never like using the term Bridge Guy. I just don't like the term. It's a character. Hey, Mino Dino, thank you. You can see the Cash App or the Buy Me a Coffee tagged at the top of the chat. Okay, says our host. And so, at what point, can I ask you, at what point did you know that Richard Allen was Bridge Guy or that guy? Bridge Guy. The villain in this fictional narrative scenario. Holman, I mean, I think once we found Kathy Shanks found the misfiled tip, or however you want to phrase that, we started doing a lot of intelligence gathering and looking into Richard Allen like we would anybody else that we thought was out there on the bridge, either as a witness or as a suspect, before we started putting circumstantial evidence together, leading us to believe that he was Bridge Guy. And then I think when I first believed, it was when Steve Mullen and Tony Liggett interviewed him, and he basically described himself as Bridge Guy and being out there on the bridge. And at that point, I knew he was Bridge Guy. And I knew that we were able to have eyewitnesses who said they saw Bridge Guy. See, this is how it happens. This is how it happened, y'all. And, just put all of those pieces of the puzzle together. That's no fucking puzzle. That's called a bunch of dumbasses making assumptions and piling the assumptions like a big pile of shit onto a guy who puts himself there. There was no doubt that he was out there and that he was the one on the video telling the girls, kidnapping them, telling them to go down the hill. Yeah, well, really? How do you explain then that the voice that says down the hill is really close to the girls? And that figure on the bridge is on the opposite side of the bridge, very far away. How do you explain that? And I think at the time I believed it, but again, we were building the case and we weren't going to falsely arrest anybody. You don't say. Is that the talking? Put that in your notebooks. Talking point. Check. We weren't going to falsely arrest anybody. Check. That's about the third time he said that, right? That's a talk. That's part. See, the talking points are the purpose of this particular piece of multimedia. Okay, don't get it twisted. This is a creation of the state of Indiana. Due to the concerns about the lack of transparency, this was created to establish uh, the appearance of transparency, although we know there's been anything but that. And part of establishing the appearance of transparency is creating this piece of multimedia called an interview, in which certain talking points or bullet points are put across to the listener. And so, a major talking point that they've been pushing here is we're not going to arrest the wrong person or falsely accuse or falsely arrest anyone. That's a major point of this piece of propaganda. So we were putting together an establishing probable cause, which, remember, I said is an issue. It's a matter of paperwork. Okay, probable cause in this particular organization is a matter of paperwork. It's not a factual basis. It's a point of protocol of paperwork. It's a paper. This is a pencil pusher. And when he left and stopped cooperating and wouldn't allow us to look at his phone or get his DNA, we were able to apply and obtain a search warrant for his residence. Yeah, I would be pissed too if you had treated me the way that you did him and his wife. I would be pretty upset too and tell you to go fuck yourselves. But what you don't say is that at his residence, you got nothing, zilch, zero. Let me make a clear point here. That whole deal about the blue Carhartt jacket and the clothing that he owned, the fact that he owned a Carhartt jacket. See, you never come out and announce that there was not one piece of DNA evidence on that blue Carhartt jacket. Not a drop of blood, not a piece of DNA, neither on the boots, jeans, on anything he owned. What was there not one piece of that girl of those girls' DNA? Neither in his vehicle was there one drop of blood or one piece of those girls' DNA. Neither in his garage, neither on his fucking motorcycle cover, neither on the water bottle, neither on the 15 or 20 or 30 fucking knives, however many fucking knives and phones he had. Neither was there any digital forensic evidence on any of those devices. But somehow you always leave that out. My communication with him was odd. His behavior was odd. And him and I had minimal discussions, but I told him, hey, we're not here to tear your house up or break any locks, but we need your cooperation. Will you assist us so we don't do that? And he made multiple comments of doesn't matter, it's over. And he made that comment multiple times out there when we served the search warrant. And I just thought it was odd, and just putting all of it together and then finding the items that we found and sending them to the lab and getting results back that indicated that the round that we found on February 14th between Abby and Libby, closest to Libby, matched his gun, according to your expert. And remember, that's one out of thousands of experts. One out of thousands who just coincidentally happened to match the round, although she could not exclude others, and she had to fire the round, a round, to match the markings on the unfired, which is unheard of. It's absolutely unheard of. And it's like we're living in a twilight zone. I mean, it's literally like we're living in a twilight zone. It's unbelievable. That you would have people believe that you can match the marks on an extracted unspent round, that to match those marks, you have to fire a round to match the unspent round. It's just, that's not how it works. But of course, most people don't know about guns, so no one would understand that. No one would understand other than a shooter. And I've said many times before, the only way you're ever doing that is if you find a reloaded round. If you found a reloaded round that cartridge had been previously fired, then it would make sense that you could match that reloaded round to a fired cartridge. But that's the only way. And it's insane that you would expect anyone to believe that. But that's your expert. Thank you, Faith Ross. If they were in fear of their lives from the guy in the video, why didn't they call 911 or at least a family member? I mean, they had a phone. I don't get it. Right. It's fantasy world narrative. So putting all of that together in the video of the car and the circumstantial evidence with the witness statements, I knew we had the right guy. Yeah, except that the witnesses didn't describe little Richard Allen. Those witnesses described a tall, young, muscular guy, which is the exact opposite of the way anyone would describe Richard Allen. You would never say Richard Allen is tall, young, or muscular. You wouldn't. Listen, I know people who've seen him in person. They say he's tiny. You would say that little guy, that little old guy. Remember, those witnesses couldn't even attest that the guy that they had sketched in those sketches was Richard Allen. Neither could they attest to the fact that Richard Allen was the guy they saw out there. They couldn't sit there in the courtroom and point at him and say, yes, he's the one I saw out there that day. Does no one understand? What's up from England? Okay, what's up from Scotland? Thanks for watching from across the ocean, man. Appreciate you guys. I mean, but do you understand that? Those witnesses could not say Richard Allen was who they intended to sketch. They could not say that Richard Allen was who they visibly saw with their own two eyes. So let me ask you this. Who's the one that turned Richard Allen into that guy? Tony Liggett and Nicholas McClelland. I knew we had the right guy. Yeah, of course you did. The confidence, that's the problem. You're overly confident. It's an ego problem. Okay, here we go with host. Okay. Host says, that was one of the big things you testified on, was there were conversations you had with him while his house was being searched. That was a moment. You just mentioned it. So he stated to you, and I want to understand this, he stated to you, it doesn't matter anyway, or can you take me back to what he was saying to you? Because this was a really important part, in my opinion, of your testimony on the stand, conversations you had with him during the search of his house. Holman. Holman says, sure. So as a supervisor, I did a walkthrough with crime scene investigator, and they take pictures before they start the search. That way, if we are accused of, destroying a property, we'll have that on pictures of it before we start it and after. We also go back and take pictures after and during the search. So I did a walkthrough, and I told Richard Allen I was going to do a walkthrough and why. And that if we did destroy anything, that wasn't going to be on purpose, and that there's a process. We have a tort claim, and that he can fill out if we do destroy any of his property. And he made the comment, and I'd have to look back at my report to see exactly what he said, but he said, it doesn't matter, it's over anyway. And I didn't dig into it at the time. I just noted it and put it in my report. But he made that several times. At some point, he sat in the car with me when his wife needed to use the restroom. She went to her place of employment, and he asked if we could sit in the car, if he could sit in the car with me, and he asked me, do you guys detain or did you arrest my wife? And I said, no, why? And he said, well, she's been gone for a long time. And I said, well, I could take you out to wherever she works if you want me to go find her. And he said it again, no, it doesn't matter. It's over anyway. And he said it a few times. And then in my interview, I asked him what he meant by it. He just said, well, you've talked to these people and they all think I'm guilty and my life's over anyway. You see? You see? It's weird to me that an innocent person would say that. I think only guilty people would think, no bullshit. Look, you've got 15 fucking marked units outside of my house, and you got 20 people in my house, and you got cameras, and you got all day for 12 hours or so. No, I would think that my life's over too. All my neighbors, the whole town, like, think this is a tiny fucking town. He knows that within 24 hours, the whole town's going to be talking about that his house was searched. And he's bridge guy. They like, hello. It doesn't make him a killer. Doesn't make him guilty. I think only guilty people would think that. I think only a fucking maniac would think that he's guilty because he asked that or said that. So it was just odd to me that he would say that multiple times. Okay, here we go. Here we go with the puta. Of course, the other really interesting part of your testimony in court, and maybe this is actually why in my brain I envision you testifying more than even twice, as you said, is because we watched multiple times the interrogation that you did of Richard Allen, 2 separate interrogations, and one in which led to the arrest of Richard Allen. And nobody else, the public has not seen those. It was interesting. I think I might have been one that after I watched it the first time in court, I might have joked and maybe said, you kind of maybe thought you were on an episode of CSI or something. You were really into it and passionate. And the language that was used was really intense. A lot of F-bombs, a lot of all this. But can you take me back there? Because it was also edited. We didn't see the whole thing. We saw the majority of it. But all of a sudden, it went from a bit of calmness to you just sort of really yelling at him and you telling him that he did it. Can you take us through this interrogation? I hope that the public is able to see it one day. But what were your tactics and what were you feeling and thinking during this interrogation? Uh-oh. Well, you can tell she's laying the groundwork for some for some skank shit right here. Okay. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Like I said, this is an entire PR piece. This is an entire PR piece. Uh, this is a multimedia creation of the Indiana State Police to quell public concerns about the lack of transparency in the railroading of Richard Allen. That's all this is. Well, again, it wasn't meant to be an interrogation. We actually had him set up for a time, or we actually had him set up a time for him to come in, and we planned on giving him his car back. But we wanted to talk about some of the results of the test we had. One being 2 marks on the round that was found matched his gun. Oh, you know what just occurred to me? You know what just occurred to me? He prefaced it with that statement that it wasn't meant to be an interrogation because he didn't read him or he didn't advise him of his rights. And then also, we were still testing other items, and we wanted to know if he had lent any other items out or anything like that. What was weird to me is we actually scheduled that interview a few days before, but he canceled. And then when he came, when I went out to the lobby to get him, he was with his wife, and just the way he was dressed to me was odd. He was wearing like sweatpants and a t-shirt, I believe. And he took his coat off and emptied his pockets. I think he may have had like a lighter and some cigarettes or something, maybe a wallet. I can't remember exactly, but he emptied his pockets and gave those items to his wife, which most people don't do that. Well, maybe he thought you were going to fucking arrest his ass because of the, like, he thought you were going to arrest his ass at his house when you were searching. I mean, you are the police. I've had people that I've interviewed in the past, and they and said, "Hey, I'm going to turn this report over to a prosecutor. And if he decides to issue a warrant, can I call you and meet up and you turn yourself in?" And they said, "Yes, sure." And when I would call them, that's how they would show up, because I think it's common knowledge that you can't bring personal items into jail, and more than likely they're going to throw them away or lose them. So to me, as soon as I engaged with him in the lobby, it was like he thought I was going to arrest him. And at that time, our intentions was just to try to clear up some things and get some explanations for some of the test results that we had, collect his DNA and do some other things. But our intentions weren't to arrest him that day. We were trying to give him the opportunity to explain what's going on. So that was odd. Still, why are you even talking about this? Doesn't make him a double murderer of 2 little kids. It's the amount of piling on of irrelevant shit to this guy that they had to do to make him guilty of murder is amazing. It's mind-boggling. It's incredible the amount of shit that they've had to pile on this guy. Remember, they had to turn Sarah Carbo's words from muddy to bloody. They had to turn a 65 Comet into a Ford Focus. They had to turn the young, beautiful eyes and proofy brown hair into Richard Allen. They had to turn muscular and tall into Richard Allen. They had to turn 1230 to 130 into 130 to 3. They had to literally fucking twist everything imaginable to pile on this guy. And now they've piled on the fact that he said it doesn't matter, it's over, and then he emptied his pockets. And then during the interview, the first majority of the interview, we were both calm. He started cussing at me. I'd normally treat people as they treat me. So if you're not cursing, I'm not going to curse. But if you start cursing, then I'm going to speak your language. And he had dropped the F bomb a couple of times, and I did not. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt that I was accusing him of killing two people. No, two little kids. Two little kids. But he just made some odd comments and things like that to me. I made the comment that he said he cared what people thought about him. And I said, yeah, I understand that. And you know, your wife doesn't think you're a bad person. I don't think you're a bad person. And he made the comment, well, what kind of good person kills two girls? That was odd to me. How is that odd? I mean, it seems like the last thing a killer of two little girls would say is, what kind of good person kills two little girls? You see how he's taking everything and twisting it. That was odd to me. I allowed him a break, actually a smoke break and a bathroom break, and gave him a couple of waters, maybe one or two, and everything that we normally do in an extended interview. And I also asked him if he would like to talk to his wife because she was telling us some things that wasn't adding up. And he said, yeah. So I allowed him to talk to his wife. It was very odd when she came in my opinion. I observed it. She was very standoffish. She didn't act like she wanted to be there. She was upset. She asked him why you didn't tell me you were on the bridge that day. And they had a conversation about some things. He tried to hug. Okay, boom. Hold on. Talking point. Check. Put that in your notebooks. Okay. Part of the reason for this multimedia operation from the Indiana State Police, now we know, is to put out there in the public that she said, why didn't you tell me you were on the bridge that day? Check. Okay, remember, this is a hit piece. This is a piece of propaganda. So, talking point. Why didn't you tell me you were on the bridge that day? Okay. Inserted. There we go. Okay, we got that covered. Next. And they had a conversation about some things, and he tried to hug her, and she was very standoffish with him. Maybe she was pissed that she's in a fucking police station. Yeah, good point. No one could identify him or the girls out there definitively that day. Yeah, big surprise, right? Big fucking surprise. She was upset. No, I mean, she's in a police station, you fucktard. She asked him why you didn't tell me on the bridge that day, and they had a conversation about something. And then some things were edited out because it may be too prejudicial for the jury to hear. And the things that were edited out was I offered him a polygraph, and you can't say that to some. You can't say that because if someone denied or refuses to take a polygraph, that's just too prejudicial to present to the jury. And understand that, and that's why those things were edited out. That's the only thing that was edited out. So he denied, right? He didn't want the polygraph. Uh-oh, we're getting another talking point. We're getting another talking point. Yeah, he refused multiple times. Okay, another talking point. Another talking point. Put this in your notebooks. He refused a polygraph multiple times. Check. And while his wife was in there, I asked her, I said, if you're innocent, would you take a polygraph? And she said, yes. And I said, well, I've offered Richard to take this polygraph multiple times and he refuses to do it. And he got angry with me then and started cussing. And I started cussing and said, if you're innocent, take the effing polygraph and things like that. And then he asked me to let his wife go. And I said, sure, you can go. And I said, tell him do the right thing. And then when I got really angry is when he said that you're going to pay for this. And I said, no, it's not on me, Richard Allen. This is on you. I'm not going to pay for this. You're going to pay for that. And I only raised my voice and cursed for maybe like a total of 30, maybe 30, 40 seconds. Okay. Talking point. Talking point. See, what you didn't say is that he exploded on you because you tried to turn his wife against him in that interview room. Okay, that's what you didn't say. But what you're doing out here is you're trying to put out another talking point or bullet point that you only raised your voice, screamed, and yelled at him for 30 seconds. Okay, that's your whole thing. Yes, I was completely inappropriate. Use a read technique. I did what I shouldn't have done. It looks bad for ISP, but I only did it for 30 seconds, maybe 40. The rest of the time, I was calm just like this, but I did use some deceptive tactics that we're trained to use. That's another thing. Trained to lie. Trained, check, trained. I'm trained. And while some people call them lies, I call them deceptive tactics, interview techniques where I over embellish some facts. No, you lied to try to get him to self-implicate. Like we have eyewitnesses that saw you out there. Well, they did. They saw Bridge Guy. They identified Bridge Guy. And we were able to identify Bridge Guy as being Richard Allen. No, you weren't. Not one of them said they saw Richard Allen out there. Not one. Not one said they saw Richard Allen out there. And you lied and told him you had multiple that said they saw him out there. Yes, you did. We had evidence of his car. We had multiple police officers saying that's him on video and that's his voice. And I over embellished some of those facts and said it was experts and things like that. Yeah, you were trying to scare him into confessing or cooperating. But it's just techniques that we use that people would use when you're trying to get their kids to tell the truth. If they take a cookie out the cookie jar. I mean, no, it's called fucking bullying and being a piece of shit. I mean, it's simple tactics that we use to try to elicit a response, not necessarily a confession, but just a response that we can build on. And at that end of it, we were both calm. I drove him to the Carroll County Sheriff's Department. We had no interaction at all. Definitely no heated interaction. Talking point. Check. No heated interaction. Even though you were screaming at the top of your lungs in his face, calling him a kid killer. And that was pretty much it. All right. Host. Thank you for explaining that. That interrogation was like the talk of those that were sitting in the gallery in court. And I want to say, well, I thought, oh my gosh, that was really intense. Now I understand why some of the edits, it makes a little more sense to me. Although I was one that was like, man, they definitely didn't edit you yelling at him. I want you to know that someone else in court was sitting there saying, no, I thought it was great. I thought he did such a great job. So we were all discussing ass kissing, boot licking, sharing what we thought we knew about this interrogation. But I want to point out one thing I noticed, and you brought up too, was when his wife came in. Kathy Allen came in. I actually thought that was really interesting. My take on that was, and you were part of this, you guys were, I guess, as you point out, watching. I feel he was really manipulative to his wife in that room where he said, you know, I wouldn't have done this. You know that I'm not capable of this. And she was hugging them. You're right. It was so, she wasn't hugging him. You're right. She was standoffish. And she was sort of almost like she wasn't sewed. And he was like, you know, I wouldn't do this. You know me, Kathy. You know me. And then to hear that she stated was one that she didn't know that he was at the bridge that day during the sentencing which just happened 6 days ago, actually. That was when this gag order was lifted and why we're able to talk right now. You were called to the stand 6 days ago, and you mentioned that he was manipulative to his wife and family, and you even mentioned specifically religion. That was a moment for me because as I'm explaining to you, I saw some manipulation of him that wasn't really addressed, but it's just something I noticed in this interrogation. What did you mean when when you shared 6 days ago at his sentencing that you felt he manipulated his family and those around him? Holman, I think that would have been after the arrest was made. His phone conversations and his conversations with corrections officers. I believe I stated I felt he used religion to manipulate his mother, wife, and corrections officers to get what he wanted. And maybe not just religion, but I think he manipulated them by behavior or his actions that he was doing at the correction facility to get what he wanted. He broke his iPad. He wanted a new one. He didn't like his living conditions. He wanted to be moved. He wanted in-person visits with his wife. And I think he was being manipulative, saying those things and using at some point, using religion in his Bible to try to convince people, that he found God. And I hope he did. I hope he did. I hope he confesses to all his sins and I hope he's forgiven those sins. And I just have a hard time believing that. And I think he's definitely manipulative and persuasive and selfish. And that's kind of what I meant by those comments. Excuse me. Did you mention Monica Walla injecting him with mind altering substances while he was already on mind altering substances? Did you mention the multiple uh, doctors who testified that he was undergoing a major psychotic episode after being in solitary for what was it, fucking 13 months? Um, okay, thank you for explaining that. Thank you. Yeah, that was there any reaction of Kathy after the arrest? By the way, that's something, of course, we didn't see. I saw her reaction in that room, sort of standoffish to her husband. But does she have any reaction during the arrest or anything you remember? Holman. Well, I wasn't with her, but I was told she was upset and maybe even began to hyperventilate a little. And they did talk to her several minutes, if not hours, after I took Mr. Allen to Carroll County. So, but yeah, I think probably shock. I mean, I believe that when this happens, initial shock is probably something that occurs. Thank you, corner piece. Jesus Christ. I can't keep reading this, man. I thought I would have the energy to get through it tonight, but Jesus. It's infuriating to read this. All right. So give me a little for forgive a little break there. True. This is your host. Just so everyone knows, we were getting some feedback echo on my end. So I put earphones on and we will continue. We were talking about a reaction of Kathy Allen when Richard Allen was arrested, and we didn't know about that. And thank you for sharing that. I also want to reiterate that she too is a victim in this, and I don't want to blame her in any way. It was actually heartbreaking for me to see her in court every day sitting there. One thing about the interrogation too, the defense brought up after, as you say, the interview that turned into an interrogation on accident or the accidental interrogation that day. Talking point repeated, boom, check. They brought up that his Miranda rights had not been recorded, that they had been given to him, but they didn't make the recording. There was a lot of talk about recordings being missing or interviews being missing, which I think, let's just be honest, led to a lot of theories about you and law enforcement and cover ups. Can you talk about this and what happened with the missing recordings? Oh, here we go. So, as I mentioned, these are uh, pre approved questions. So now we're getting to the talking point of deleted interviews. Yes, deleted. Oh my gosh. That, like I said, this is a multimedia creation of the Indiana State Police, and here you go. Yeah, technology is great when it works. I mean, I think you were at trial. You even saw we had this brand new smart TV that Prosecutor McClellan was ready to throw out the third floor window, second floor, whichever floor we were on. That's true. All right, is everyone having a good New Year's? There's so much more. Jerry Holman. We would practice that thing the day before. We were playing videos and even on break to make sure it would work. And then the jury would come back and we'd hit play and nothing would happen. So technology is great when it works. Oh, so you're trying to blame the 70 days of deleted recordings of interviews. You're trying to equate that to your stupid screen not working in the courtroom. You're trying to equate the two. That don't work. That doesn't work. Sorry. So technology is great when it works, as long as you don't delete or hit record over the very important fucking first 6 days and another whatever it is 62 days or 64 days. We're going to pretend that never happened, right? I can tell you that none of the errors or technical difficulties that we had were intentional. Check. Another narrative point. Okay. Another narrative point. None of the deletions were intentional. Check. Now you wonder why he gave this interview, quote unquote. To speak on mine, we had multiple in this case, and we had multiple technical difficulties in all our investigations. But in this one, I thought we had checked the recording system before Richard Allen showed up. It was working fine. When we started it during the interview, and our plan was they were going to email me. So I had my laptop in the interview room with me if they had any questions or they needed me. And I didn't see the email, but they emailed me and said, "Hey, the recording's not working." And they came and got me. I stepped out of the room. I said, "Well, it looks like it's working now." And they said, "Well, we don't know. Go back in there." And I went back there and started interviewing. There is a delay. It's a long delay. We tried to fix it the other day because of safety reasons. It's probably 20, 30-second delay. So you'll say something, you don't hear it on the recording, the monitor, until 20 seconds, 30 seconds later. So I went back in and started the interview. But yeah, before I did not officially read him as Miranda rights because he was not in custody. I basically told him he was free to go. We were here to discuss the items that we took and some of the items we were going to return and some of the test results. And I asked him, "Do you remember being interviewed a couple of days ago by Investigator Mullen and Detective Liggett?" And he said yes. I said, "So you're aware of your Miranda warnings?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "That door is not locked. You're free to go at any time. You're free to stop answering questions." So I didn't officially read him his Miranda warnings, but I made sure he was aware. And yeah, unfortunately, that was not caught on the recording system. It was not intentionally done. Narrative point, check. I'm not even intelligent enough to know how to delete interviews like that. I wouldn't even know where to start. So that was that case. There was another one that wasn't brought up where I interviewed a couple people in the Department of Corrections, some prisoners that heard some comments. I went there, same recording device. It's called iRecord. So the prison's very sketchy about even police officers bringing in additional items. They don't want you to bring your cell phone or digital recorder. So I asked them, "Can I bring my digital recorder?" And they said, no, we got a recording device. So I interviewed 3 or 4 people at the DOC. And after interviews were over, they're going to download it on a thumb drive for me. And it didn't work. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I called the 2 or 3 of the prisoners were still out there in the waiting area. So I called them back and got a digital recorder and re-interviewed them. So it happened again. And at that time, the other prisoner went back and they were having a hard time locating him. He was actually with some services and he wasn't where in his room or whatever they held him at. And they put him the prison on lockdown. I said, I'll come back. And they said, no, you can't leave. We're in lockdown until we find him. And they weren't concerned about it. They knew he was probably at an appointment. They just took them a while, but they located him. But yeah, we had technical difficulties even up there. Jesus, man. Then the ones that were referred to in court about at the Delphi City, I can tell you without a doubt that Steve Mullen did not intentionally erase or lose any audio videotape statements. Check another point. You see what they're doing? They're taking every single piece of criticism and coming out with a narrative point here. What happened was the system they have, it's either a key or a switch outside the recording interview room. And you turn that on, and usually in most of them, a green light comes on, and you know somebody's in there recording. But then when you're done, you turn it off, and there's a red light. Well, whoever went in there accidentally left the switch on. So it just rewrote over multiple interviews early on, and we weren't aware of it until weeks or months into the investigation. Once we found out what happened, we owned it, and we attempted to go back and locate the people that were interviewed. And if the investigator or detective did not memorialize that in a written report, then we would try to locate people and re-interview them and make sure that we had that on an audio videotape statement or memorialized in the report. Sounds like explaining yourselves a little too late. Trying to come up with explanations is what it sounds like. And then later on at the other place, we had our command center, the old RMC building. We had made several interviews there. At some point, the audio quit working. We didn't know it until a few months or a few weeks, or when people started listening to them and trying to put things together. As long as the officer memorialized what was said in the report, some people maybe felt comfortable going back and re-interviewing. And some of them were comfortable with the memorialized information in the report. So we were able to correct most of those mistakes with the audio video, and none of it pertained towards Richard Allen. Yeah, but it pertained towards the Delphi murders. Okay. None of those mistakes were, except for the ones at the DOC, were about Richard Allen's comments. But early on mistakes, called them mistakes. I call them technical difficulties. But I'm telling you, if anybody knows Steve Mullen, he's the most honest guy I've ever met. I've known him for years. When I first came in 2001, he was a deputy and he was so calm, cool, honest. And I enjoyed working with him. I didn't work with him a lot on the road, but if I ever got a call and Steve Mullen was there, I knew it was going to go smooth, and I had no issues about him at all. And then he became the chief, and he's just an honest guy. And I know he feels bad, but he had no control. That's just things we can't control when technology doesn't work or our way. But it hurts. But it's nothing that we did intentionally. We're not withholding information or any interviews that we did. It just happened. And it's unfortunate, but it happens. Oh, shucks. We just fucked this up majorly. And now Richard Allen's paying for it. And Abby and Libby. uh, uh, okay, geez, thank you for explaining that. I mean, she's just swallowing it whole. while we're in the topic, then let me jump into Mullins was a concern, but let me jump into uh, Sheriff Liggett. He was running for sheriff at the time. Richard Allen became a suspect and was arrested. There's a lot of talk. I mean, I admit that the timing does not look good, that there's a conspiracy theory about wanting to win an election. And I know that you're not Sheriff Liggett, but anything you can say about that? Check. Oof. They're getting right to the meat, aren't they? Right to the meat. Right to the meat. Let's talk about the election, because you know that that's something that people know smells bad. Yeah, Holman. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous and very appalling to everybody involved, because I'm not corrupt and I'm not a liar. I'm a lot of things. I've been accused of a lot of things, and I am a lot of things, but I'm not perfect. But I can tell you that I would not jeopardize my career, nor would Tony Liggett ask me to jeopardize my career to do something like this. And first of all, now you got to go back and say that we purposely hid that tip before Sheriff Liggett was going to run for sheriff. Yes. That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying. We're saying what it looks like. Let me very clearly say what it looks like. I'm saying that what it looks like is that you came up with that tip and put it in a box. Somebody in your office, one of you, got that tip, put it, or you got that narrative sheet, you put it in a box, then you put it in a desk drawer in an office that you knew she was cleaning out that day in order for her to find. That's what we think. So then, I mean, he had no intention to run for sheriff. Blah 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 blah. He never said, "Hey, I'm going to run for sheriff for 48 years, whatever." So then, I mean, now you got to come up with these ridiculous, outrageous conspiracy theories. Talking point, check. And everybody involved is very passionate about their job. So now the public wants us to stop the investigation, wait until Tony wins or loses, and then arrest the guy that we believe killed him. We found the information. We acted like on it as best we could. Within a couple of weeks, we made an arrest. Had nothing to do with an election. Check. I mean, that is a Republican county. And people saying, oh, he was losing. He was a Republican running against an independent or Democrat. That's a very Republican county. In my opinion, I don't know, because I'm not into politics. But a Republican was going to win that election, whether we found his tip, arrested Richard Allen or not. No, that's not true. That's not true. So I think it's just appalling to everybody involved, and anybody believes that. That's just ridiculous to me. I mean, you can't make that up. That would take a lot of time, effort, and resources clear back in 2017 to stage an election in 2022. Ridiculous. It's just ridiculous to me. No one's saying that. No one's saying that in 2017 you conspired to arrest someone to maintain control over the investigation in 2022. No, we're saying in 2022 you decided we can't let anyone else come in and investigate this matter. We must maintain a control over this investigation. Therefore, we must arrest somebody before the election. That's what I'm saying. But here we go with dumbass. Here we go with the dumbass. Yes, thank you for letting me talk about that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your transparency. And also during this interview, I want to say a big issue with this case, I think, is the lack of transparency. Check. Another talking point coming. Another talking point. Lack of transparency. Yeah, I have to admit, I feel like you're being very transparent. Before the interview, you said, I have nothing to hide. The gag order has been lifted. Can you talk to us about that? Because I feel like a lot of these things that we're discussing today have to do with a lack of transparency or theories about the case running rampant. Anything you want to speak to about that? Holman, transparency comes up a lot. And I believe in transparency. As you can see, yeah, right. Sure. This is transparent. So you mean that going on a public relations media blitz using the friendly podcasters, that's called transparency to get out your talking points? I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm not going to voice any other people's opinions on these. This is just mine, but transparency is key. But we often get put in between a rock and a hard place when it comes to protecting the integrity of the investigation. Oh, that's the fucking the shit you've been saying so for so fucking long. Nobody wants to hear that anymore. Protecting the integrity of the investigation. No one wants to hear that. No one gives a fuck about your excuse that you can't say shit to protect the integrity. No, you said for years. Okay, that's always been that's the blanket that you all hide under. Doug Carter especially. I think we thought long and hard about what information we could release. The state police has policies and procedures that we follow, and we also don't want information out there that the killer and only the killer knows. Like what? There's nothing that only the killer knows. And how did it help you with Richard Allen? That helps us solve cases. Bullshit. Not 7 years later in this case. No. It's bullshittery is what it is. And then the gag order was in place. So yeah, because she put that in place to protect you all and the family. The gag order was not to shut you up. The gag order was to give you a wall to hide behind. Does everyone understand yet what this gag order was about? Please understand the gag order. The gag order was to establish a wall for the family, the law enforcement, and the lawyers and everyone else to hide behind to keep information hidden. But I think that the public is unrealistic thinking that the investigators are going to talk about every step of the investigation in public while the investigation or trial is still going on. I think that's just totally unrealistic. What I think is realistic is what we did. We gave information to the media that we thought would help us to identify who the killer was. And those were very strategic. And we don't want, and we don't like to talk about the investigative strategies because we don't necessarily want the public to know what we can and can't do to find out who committed the crime. Because if everybody knows that we can do this or that, then they're going to stop doing that. Obviously, people know about DNA and fingerprints, so they wear clothes or protective equipment to allow that. And everybody knows that technology allows us to look at cell phones. So now people leave their cell phones at home. So if we talk about all the investigative strategies and every piece of evidence that we have, that would violate the integrity of the investigation and make it much harder for us to solve crimes. So I wish we could tell everything. And even now, I don't think the public is ever going to know everything about this investigation. I wish they could. I wish everybody could come out. Not a lot of people are going to want to talk because everything I say today is going to get twisted by the defense. And they're going to say, oh, look, he said this. What he really meant was this. So a lot of people are afraid to talk. I'm not. I have nothing to hide. I want the truth to come out. And the truth is we did a very thorough investigation. Check. You cannot make this shit up at all. A very thorough investigation. We established probable cause and arrested the right person for this crime. But transparency is key. But again, We get put in between a rock and a hard place, and we can only do so much. I mean, this is what I wonder. Does he believe this shit? Does he believe this shit? Oh my goodness. You can't make this shit up, bro. And here we come with the boot looking. I hear you. I hear you. I appreciate you and your transparency. I feel like you have been very much been transparent. You know, you mentioned that I didn't know that Richard Allen had declined the polygraph multiple times, but you couldn't share that in court because it was prejudicial, and that makes sense. Check. Another narrative push. Okay, decline polygraph multiple times. That's a big one they're pushing tonight. All right. You can't let the jury know about that. There are a couple other things I know about that weren't. You guys weren't able to, or the prosecution, I should say, I wasn't able to share during trial. One of them being a video of Richard Allen being angry in a video. Can you share what that video was and why the prosecution might have wanted to share that video, or anything else that you were able to share in court? That polygraph bit is interesting. Okay, here we go with some more. So get ready to get your checks. Get ready to get your notebooks. This is another one. This is another one. Yeah, there was probably a few things, but I don't know about the trial rules like I should. I'm not an attorney. I know the criminal law and traffic law and investigative techniques and strategies, but when it comes to trial rules, I learned a lot. I joke around with prosecutor. Here we go with the titles again. McClellan saying, I'm an apprentice attorney because I've learned so much about what you do, what you can do and can't do, because I was like, why don't we say this? You can't. It's too prejudicial. And I understand that. And I respect the judge for her decision, although I was angry that we couldn't play that video. I think the reason that we wanted to play it, and again, I'm not the prosecutor, but the reason I think we wanted to play that video is because they were trying to make him out as, I think they turned the term they used as a fragile egg, and he's not. We thought that he's faking some of those actions. So during the video at Cass County, where he probably had 3 or 4 incidents while he was at Cass County, and the one was just he became very abusive verbally. He was sitting on his cot and reading the Bible, and he just broke out, had an outburst, started yelling and screaming, made a throat slashing motion, and started threatening to kill everybody, and started banging his head on the wall, punching the door, and within seconds, I mean, he just turned into this violent human being. And I think that showed that he has that ability to lose his temper and become a monster. And then within seconds, he calmed back down, sat on the bed, and said, no, I'm fine. They wanted to take him to the padded cell, and he was just able to control it like that. And I think that, in my opinion, is he got angry at the bottom of the hill on February 13th. The girl said or did something, or something happened, and he's capable of doing that. He's capable of losing his control and coming into and being that beast that he is that day, and killing 2 innocent teenage girls. So I think that was kind of important. But again, the judge ruled against it, and it was too prejudicial. And I believe she made the right decision. Although I don't understand it. Sometimes I think we should put everything out there. Same thing. I'm sure the defense thinks why we couldn't put the Odenism in, while the judge ruled the Indiana statute clearly states that you have to establish a direct criminal nexus with the third party defense, and they couldn't do that. They had 3 days to do it, and they couldn't do it. And we knew that because, again, we spent months trying to tie those people to the crime, and there's just not any evidence or facts that tie them to it. So this was another decision that she made. And I think those that are the reasons why and she followed the law on those decisions. Whether we like it or not, it's probably the right thing to do. Without a doubt, it's the right thing to do. Now let's see. So during Cass County, he flipped his shit and started threatening to kill everybody. What medication was he on? Was he going through an episode of psychosis? Sounds like it. So there was no nexus. There was no nexus. There was no probable cause. In other words, you couldn't add that third party sort of theory to the case. I'm jerking you off. I'm making excuses for you. I'm bringing you right along. You just can't say Lauren did it. I didn't do it. Lauren did it. They have to have a direct criminal nexus or connection to the crime scene. And the only person that had a connection was Richard Allen, nobody else. So that's why they didn't allow it. That's my opinion. Again, I'm not an attorney and definitely not a judge, but that's how it was explained to me. Okay. And not having a third party theory was technically a loss. I guess for the defense, you could say who wanted that in. They wrote their Frank's memo, but I want to point out too that the prosecution not being able to put in that moment of Richard Allen raging and doing this with hand gesture, that was a win for the defense. Sometimes I think there's also the idea, because there was no video or and audio in court. I want to say this: I saw Judge Gold rule a lot for both sides, for the defense and for the prosecution. Jerry, am I treating you well? I think that what she was working towards was a clean trial. In other words, oh no, baby. Oh no. No. She was unfucking hinged in her bias. Look, let's be clear here. Lauren, I'm gonna shut you down right now. She was absolutely unhinged in her bias, and the entire public knows it. So you can stop that shit. Like you two can stop acting like she's fair, balanced, and rules according to law. We can stop that. She's fucking unhinged in her biased nature. There's no question. Look at the numbers. Holman, I think early on in one of the hearings, she stated, I didn't exactly remember how she said, but they were talking about how she didn't know the facts, and she made a comment, I don't need to know the facts. I'm the referee. I'm just a referee. Basically, I just need to know is what you're wanting fair and legally obtainable. If not, then I'm not going to allow it. And I thought she did a great job. Of course you did. Of course. Look, of course you think she did a great job. Or who are we fucking kidding here? I'm sure McClellan thinks she did a great job. I mean, for fucking, cleaning up the spittle every time he drooled. She burped him after she breastfed him. She changed his diapers on a regular basis. She made sure his milk was heated to the proper temperature before giving it to him. She held his hands when he was afraid. She brought him to the potty when it was potty time. She made sure he had the nap at nap time. I'm sure Doug Carter is very pleased with Judge Gold. Yes, I'm sure, and I'm sure he doesn't think she was biased at all. Yeah. Oh, and I'm sure the Patties just love her. I mean, she's the greatest judge in the fucking world. Who are we kidding here? I think she was firm but fair. In my opinion, I think most judges are, because they're going to be scrutinized in every decision that they made as well. And she knows that. And so I think she took all that under consideration and made the correct decisions to the best of her ability, says Holman. Right. Here's your host again. Here's your host again. Um, I have so many questions for you. You mentioned a bit about a theory of what happened, that perhaps one of the girls said something, it put Richard Allen into a rage. Yes, because we're going to paint him as a monster, a lone wolf killer, a monster, an unhinged, raging lunatic. Do you personally have any theories on what happened that day, February 13, 2017, when Abby and Libby lost their lives? Can you take us to what you think happened that day? Holman. Well, I think the evidence and facts clearly indicate that they were out there, dropped off, possibly to meet somebody, or maybe just to go out there and enjoy a nice, unseasonably warm day. Woo! How many talking points in that fucking sentence? That's the most uh, uh, in that that's the most. I can't even come up with a terminology, dude. It's getting late. I'm unhinged. It's too much of this. Look, he hit like 5 talking points in one sentence. Clearly indicate they were out there. Okay, they were out there. Check. Dropped off. Check. Possibly to meet somebody. Check. Or to go out there and enjoy a nice, unseasonably warm check day. Wow, so many narrative points in one sentence. And then he comes up with this. And in Richard's own words, he laid in wait. He stalked them. He kidnapped them by telling them to go down the hill, by pointing a gun at them. I believe he was going to sexually assault them at the bottom of that hill underneath the trestle. My theory is he probably commanded them to get naked and was going to do some sort of sexually gratifying acts there. But the van, driven by Mr. Weber, spooked him. He probably heard it. I mean, that's a long lane. You can hear it before it gets right up. You see, do you see this? Like in one paragraph, he's just repeated the entire fantasy world narrative in this one paragraph. That one paragraph. It's incredible. 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 Like you got to understand, this is a piece of PR work like you've never seen. All right. Holman. So I think he then took them across that frigid creek and was being selfish and was a coward. See, narrative. I think he treated them like animals. Narrative. And again, that's where my anger comes into how one human could treat two other human beings in that way. I think he was selfish and thought they were going to turn him in if he failed to kidnap them. He failed to gratify himself sexually and he slit their throats, put sticks on them. And how can he go on and live his life? I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but he did. Uh, Narrative. And I think there's a lot of other theories, but that's what the facts and the evidence clearly indicates happened. That's what I believe happened, and it's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Didn't need to happen. Narrative. Why? Why is this the narrative? Like, is it because Gray Hughes and Sleuth Intuition came up with this shit years ago? Is this why? Is this why? Because they came up with this narrative years ago, and everyone has decided on this narrative. So he's just going to go with it. This is what happened to those girls, really. So how do you explain the moving, the staging, the un established times of death, the not being found during the search for fucking 20 hours, uh, the clear geometric formations in the sticks placed on the bodies, the clear geometric right angles on the tree, the clear geometric formation that echoes the one on Abby's body on the pool of blood. How explain all that? What's up, Sleuthy Goosey? I just want to say thank you for this personally. Thank you. From what I could tell and learn and understand, it seemed if there was some, let's say, overkill with Libby. Do you feel that too? Because you're law enforcement, not me. And so this is me sitting in court. What was that about? Or what are your feelings on that as law enforcement? Overkill, Richard Allen. My best theory on that, says Holman, is she was probably bigger, stronger, maybe a little harder to control. But that's my only explanation with that. I don't know what was going through his mind. But to me, that would be the logical answer. Is she probably a little bit physically stronger? Abby wasn't nearly big and developed yet, but she's still young. But I don't know. I mean, only three people know. Two, unfortunately, are deceased, and the other one doesn't want to take responsibility for his actions. So I don't know if we ever know. Fuck you. No, no. You don't know that. You don't know how many people really know what happened. I bet you a lot of people really know what happened because I bet you a lot of people were there. How do you explain that one of those girls is nude and one is dressed? How do you explain that? Explain to me how one is nude and one is dressed and neither were found during the search. Explain how they were not found during the 20 fucking plus hour search and how one is nude and one is dressed. Explain that shit to me before you come up with fantasizing. Uh, 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 uh. One thing you mentioned is why they were there. They were dropped off because they either wanted a seasonably warm day or you mentioned they might have wanted to meet somebody. What do you mean by that? Yes, says Holman. I mean, there's a lot of speculation about Keegan Klein and the Anthony underscore shots account, but we also know that Anthony underscore shots was communicating with Libby and some of her friends. We don't know for sure if that's why they were going out there or not. Unfortunately, with Snapchat and Kick and Musically and some of those apps that people use to communicate, we can tell people are communicating, but sometimes we can't tell the content. But it wouldn't surprise me maybe if they thought somebody was going to be out there or maybe a friend or something like that. So that's what I meant by that. Yeah. So you're basically implying they were fucking catfished. Was it Kelsey who catfished them out there? Do you think it could have been Keegan Klein? Do you think maybe that they were perhaps wanting to meet Keegan Klein or Cute Boy at the Trail? Holman, possibly that Anthony underscore shots. I thought that might be out there. Who obviously was a fake persona that Keegan was using. And who else? Who else, Jerry? Who else other than Keegan Klein was using Anthony underscore shots? Was Keegan Klein using that at all? Or did he just create it and give it to someone else? I don't think Keegan was out there. Oh, really? Because he placed himself and his father out there. He sure did. I mean, again, evidence indicate that he was not that day in time. Oh, what did he place himself there then? So if there's evidence that would have proved that, then he would be in prison for that as well. I mean, obviously he's in prison for being the child predator that he is, but we would not withhold that. If he had probable cause, talking point, check, talking point. Okay, talking point. If they knew that Keegan was actually there, he would be in prison for that. And they would not withhold it. Talking point, check, write in your notebook. If we had probable cause to believe that he was involved in this, remember, which is a paperwork based issue, then we would definitely file charges. And if any evidence comes up that he was, then we would pursue that. We would write a report up, give it to the prosecutor, and he would determine whether or not that would be the case. Well, how do you explain the fact that he put him and his father there, and his father going down to the creek, and his father coming back and saying we had fun while being covered in blood, but all I did was help move the bodies? How do you explain him making all those statements? All right. I want to I want to go back to Odinism really quickly because Odinism became a very, very, very big deal when the Franks memo came out. The defense wrote their Franks memo discussing their defense, which again was that this was an Odinistic, ritualistic killing. You mentioned that this was something that had been investigated by law enforcement, by the Popo. There was no evidence. There was no nexus. There was no probable cause, which is paperwork based issue. But it came really big deal once the defense presented this and the public got a hold of this part of the investigation, as I guess you could say, because the public is oh bitch, because the public is such a problem. The public is so horrendous. The public is so mean because they ask questions. Why should they? Well, the public just all the questions they ask, it's just horrible. Was this a way to get around the gag order? Because you mentioned the gag order was to prevent parts of the investigation from getting out. And I genuinely don't know. I'm genuinely asking. And so that's one question I have. And then I'm going to, maybe the reason I'm asking it, and you can answer that. Maybe the reason I'm asking too is because there was talk at the press conference about the defense not adhering to the gag order. So I guess this is a two-part question. Is that part of it? Yes or no? How did the defense negate the gag order if that's true? Oh, we're blaming the defense for shit they didn't do again? Is this what you're trying, young lady? Holman, yeah, I believe the easy answer would be yes. I think it was obvious to me from day one they wanted to try this in the media. They wanted to plant seeds of doubt to potential jurors. No, that's what Troll Farm does. That's what Troll Farm does. Troll Farm had the objective to influence potential future jurors, and they did so by making him guilty, okay, in the public's eye. That's why they worked so hard to do what they did. Okay. And then when the gag order was instated, I think that again, I don't know exactly why, but it appeared to me that in all of their motions that they were directing those to the media and the social media, hoping they could get these outrageous conspiracy theories, check, out there that someone might believe and someday might be a potential juror. That's my opinion. It seemed like all their motions, first of all, had a lot of over embellished facts, lies about us. And I thought that was wrong. I thought it was a very unethical strategy that they use. Oh, the Indiana State Police is so butthurt that the defense tried to put facts out. And I think that they continued to do that through all the hearings and with all the motions. And I think they continued even when trial started by still continuing to communicate with some social media and social media outlets. It just appeared to me, I didn't watch the news. I rarely watch the news, but I purposely did not watch the news during trial. And I don't watch podcasts. Sorry, YouTubers and content creators will hate me for this, but I don't watch them. I didn't even know they existed until after this case started, shortly after 2017. So, question. It's odd that you would accuse the defense side of doing that when we know beyond a reasonable doubt that it was those on YouTube and social media doing it for the prosecution. They were getting it, and by they, you know I'm talking about, Murder Sheet, Fig Solves, etc. They were getting it from Jody in Judge Gull's office, from Nick McClellan directly, and from someone in Indiana State Police. But I have friends and members that watch it. During trial, they would call me and check on me. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm sitting here in there watching. You sat in there and I thought everything was going well. It's like a roller coaster ride. You have good days, you have bad days. The judge rules on things and you think, okay, good. And some of the jury questions were like, okay, you're very in tune. You're asking the right questions. I think we're doing well. But then with the media and some of the social media outlets were reporting was one-sided. Oh, really? Yeah, I agree. There was a lot of one-sided shit for your favor, in your favor. And that's what I was getting from family members and friends are like, it's not looking good. I said, no, we're doing good. The facts and the truth coming out, and the jury's going to see everything. So I can't explain why, but I'm only assuming that they were trying to get their narrative out by pushing some of that. Again, I think that's not right. And I think not all, but some media outlets were biased towards the defense, and some social media outlets are biased towards the defense. He really believes that? Are you kidding me? And there's probably some that are biased towards the prosecution. You don't fucking say. I would say 75% because you control them all. Holy fucking shit. And I think as a reporter, I'm not a journalist, but I think most mainstream media outlets need to stay down the middle and non-biased. And here comes the cock gobbler. 100%. 100%? Yeah, I would say 100%. 100% says a totally biased YouTuber here. Oh, you cannot make this fucking shit up. 100%. And I think there's really no regulations to social media and the YouTubers and the content creators, so they can get away with it more. Yeah, it's called free fucking speech. Read the Constitution. I think some of the mainstream media and those journalists have to stay more focused and more towards the middle. And I just think that that strategy that they used was, to me, not right. Oh, sad violin for the pretty poor pobrecito. Oh my God. Well, that's really interesting to hear your perspective on that. Gobble. I just want to tell you a couple things I heard during the trial. A national producer said to me that she was talking to Rosie, and Rosie said YouTubers are a part of our job and they always will be. In other words, working with YouTubers. I saw Auger, the defense attorney, walk up to a YouTuber in court and pass her a sticky note that said something. And then she walked back and smiled at her. I just don't know what it said, if it was important or not, but it was an interesting relationship to observe. How about Fig Solves getting shit directly from Judge Gull's assistant? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm just pointing out some interesting dynamics, though, in what I've observed. So, as far as certain, you're right, social media, as you explained, or podcasts that maybe don't have as many regulations, sort of working for certain sides. It's interesting. Yeah, because all you fuckers worked for the prosecution, and we fucking know it. We've proved it. Some of them have confessed to such. This whole gaslight, trying to turn the tables here. No. The YouTubers ain't working for the defense. The YouTubers were working for the prosecutor's office and the judge and the Indiana State Police. And we've proven it. So Holman wants to add this, okay? I want the truth out there, and it's very harmful to the community for some of that false information to be out there. We get death threats all the time, and that's fine. Yeah, what about us? What about us, fuckface? Because you get a salary for your death threats. What about us? They're all over my channel. I put them in videos. Do you know how many times I've been threatened to be fucking killed and my little fucking 5-year-old over this case? I don't know, 20, 30 in a year and a half. Keep running with that narrative. Threaten me, but not my family. I won't talk about my family. I have a great family. I have a wonderful wife, 3 children, but I never say their names. They're all married, and I have 7 grandkids. I'll never say their names because I don't want them harassed, and they have been. Yeah, what about mine, motherfucker? What about mine, motherfucker? So you're not gonna play victim over here. You're not gonna play victim with us on this note. Okay? You motherfuckers have threatened to kill every single one of us. We're not playing fucking nice over here. But more importantly, the victims' families, leave them alone. Stop putting those disgusting photographs that were leaked by whoever, however you want to put it. Tyler Carpenter, Mark Cohen, all right, Ruckus Rocks. I'm not here to debate that. Yeah, because you weren't even there to fucking investigate it. It would have been nice if you went to Tyler Carpenter and asked him how he obtained those photos. Would have been fucking nice. If it was your loved ones, you would not want those photos out there on the internet for, like Becky Patty said, generational effect. Libby's nieces and nephews are going to have to see that. We're going to have to explain that someday. And it doesn't prove anything. Those photos don't prove anything. Yes, they do. They prove that those sticks were deliberately placed in geometric formations and that the bodies were posed in tarot postures. That's what those photos prove. And the photo of the tree proves that it's right angles, that's not blood spatter. I think that's where the hate needs to stop. Yeah, the hate needs to stop. What you all in Indiana State's police should have done is every time we sent you a fucking death threat, you should have went and found those individuals and knocked on their doors and told them to knock the shit off or they're going to be arrested. But you ignored every single fucking one we sent your asses. You pretended that all of your friends were not threatening to kill us, stalk us, and harass us on an ongoing basis. You looked the other way. There's, I think they think it's funny when they post my head on Shrek or say bad things about me and accuse me of all this stuff, which is just not true. I have broad shoulders and thick skin. Come after me all you want, but leave my family members and community members alone. And I think, like a lot said earlier, Lauren, a lot of people don't want to talk about that. Don't want to talk about anybody because of the threats that we've gotten through emails of people getting our cell phone numbers or family cell phone numbers. And, I just hope that stops sooner than later. Yeah, fuckface. I hope it stops too. I would love it if your people would stop threatening to fuck with me and kill me and my children and fucking with my kids and fucking with my family. I don't get paid for this shit like you do. And here we come with the bitch. I was threatened too. I was threatened. They said show up at the courthouse. Yeah, show up at the courthouse. My husband's at home seeing the emails coming and going. What's going on? Are you okay? And I'm like, being very, very worried. You said that, you don't know how the crime scene photos got out. You don't want to blame anyone. But I'm going to point something out that the victim impact statements by both Mike and Becky Patty, they blamed the defense and they were upset that Richard Allen's counsel was so careless with the photos in their offices. I'm not reading all that shit. I'm not reading all that shit. See, there's some lies told at the bottom of this page. There's some lies told about the crime scene photos. Listen, those crime scene photos were on the dark web. We have proof. You get that? So you can lie all you fucking want here in this page. I'm not even going to read your lies. Skip. All right. Excuse me. All right. Maybe this page won't be full of lies. Excuse me. I think that some of the photos were not just of the girls, but they were of things that they thought would indicate that it was a ritualistic killing or one of the infamous blood spatter on the tree. It's not spatter, dumbass. That they were trying to say was painted on there or purposely put there, and it just wasn't. Really, this just wasn't. This wasn't purposely created on the tree. Wow. Yeah, that's genius. Genius. I wonder why you think people are not going to believe their own eyes. Is that why you don't want it all out? So you think people are not going to believe their own eyes? Okay, I'm not going to read anything about Mike Patty's victim statement. Skip on that shit. I'm going to skip this shit. Sorry. I can't. I just can't. I can't with all the lies. Oh, look. Skipping over all the bullshit with the victim statements and the lies and all this. Uh, this is an interesting one. Okay. This is an interesting one. Talking point. Remember, I said write down the talking points in your notebooks. Here's one. Here's one here. Inappropriate contact with jurors. Check. Okay. Here. Remember, I said all of these questions were pre-approved or handed to her, or vice versa, something. Okay. Okay. Have you met or talked to any of the jurors? Can I ask you that? Holman. No, I have not. Oh, really? Makes me think you have. Makes me think you have. I've never met them or talked to him. That probably means you have. That probably means you have, because this is a PR piece. Okay. And I don't know if anybody has. I've never been told. I would think that the prosecutors or the prosecutor may have communicated with the foreman. That's what they're called, I think, chairperson, but I don't know. I don't know I don't know of any involvement with anybody. No, they kept them pretty secure. They were in and out of the courtroom. Normally, after a trial, the prosecution is allowed, the investigators are allowed to go talk to the jury, but yeah, not in this case. To my knowledge, nobody's talked to them. Narrative point, check. Okay. Narrative spinning. Okay. Okay, I think I just want to end. Really? You just want to end? Why would you just want to end? Did you know? So this recording, everyone, while our hidden gems will be watching this a couple of days later today. The date of this recording is December 20th, 7th. So this is, and it is actually Libby German's 22nd birthday today. Here we go with the pity party. Okay, the sympathy play. Believe us because we care about Libby. We care about Libby. Believe us. Give us credibility. We care about the victim. And honestly, for me, it's heartbreaking to think that she was a 14-year-old girl and she would be a woman today, celebrating, as her mother said in her victim impact statement, with her. And they shared a birthday very close in days, and that birthdays are now hard for her. You know, this really is. I think that when I was at the trial, I often felt that the girls were forgotten, or it wasn't about these two brave girls who, as you pointed out, helped solve their own murder. Can we stop with the gaslight, please? So you're doing the victim. So you're doing the fetishization again. You're doing the sympathy play. We care about the victims, believe us, and then they're heroes. All right. Abby hid that phone. Libby took the video. Anything you want to say to the surviving victim today, or anything about Abby and Libby today? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Uh, Holman. Holman. Yeah, I mean, I would say the most important part of this interview is what I have to say next. And you could probably delete all the other stuff because I don't care about that. I care about justice for Abby and Libby. Although I don't think the family's ever going to get closure, there's always going to be two huge holes in everybody's heart that knew them and are involved in this investigation. But it's all about them. It's all about them. The most important thing, it's not about me. It's not about the prosecutor. It's not about anybody involved, the expert witnesses, even the defense. It should just be about justice for Abby and Libby. And I think obviously I did not know the two girls before this, but I just believe from what I've learned in the last 7 years and 10 months, I think they were going to do great things. I think they were going to go on to be great people and hopefully help us solve crimes as they did on February 13th of 2017. I think they were great. I think they're true heroes. I hate when people call me a hero. I'm not a hero. They are. They are the heroes in this case. Also, the special place in my heart for those two girls and their families. And I've said this before, it's hard to me to say without getting emotional, but I hope someday I meet them in heaven and I'm able to give them a hug and thank them for making me a better person, better father, better husband, better grandfather, better investigator. Everything I've experienced through this investigation making me a better person. I owe that to Abby and Libby. Well, and then she sucked some more nut. So we'll take that down. Look, believe us because we love the victims. Anyway, that was as much as I could possibly tolerate. And thank you guys for sticking with it. I mean, just infuriating. Okay, let's see. Let me catch up with this chat. That was way too much. I mean, I didn't know it would be that difficult. Sorry. It was more difficult than I thought to read through all of that. And thanks. I skipped a few pages. That was way too much. Okay. There we go. Oh, did you guys enjoy it? I'm glad you enjoyed it because it was torture getting through that. All right. All right. So there's a few things I want to show you. Let's see. Oh, I don't have it all prepared either. You will have to be patient with me, okay, while I try to get this. All right. Oh man, I'm way behind in the chat. Sorry about that. Lots of chat. Okay. Hello, everyone in the chat. If you're just lurking, please join the chat. I'll eventually get to get to it. I'm pretty far behind here. I'm 30 minutes behind. Um, And if you're on the replay, please leave a comment down below. I mean, this was our New Year's special. Transparency matters. Do you think that was transparency? Do you? All right. Oh yeah, Abby held Kelsey's hair through the whole ordeal too. And Wallow wasn't planted. Okay, and Ferency is killed, uh, and Odin is, but don't. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Good point, Swade Smith. All right. So let me remember what I'm trying to find here. Let's see. I'm trying to find. Um, okay, I can do this. I know I can do this. Okay. First, I have to search for. Okay, this one. Okay, I can do this. Trust me. I know I can. Uh, let's get back to this. Did I screenshot it earlier? I hoped I had. Hmm, did I not? Okay. Well, I'll give up on that. Okay, give up on that one. What else was there? Let me try to catch up with the chat first. All right. Just throwing some up here. Okay. I will never be convinced that the girls were ever at the bridge at all. But Libby's freshly rebooted iPhone was because Kelsey took it there and dropped it where the bodies were dumped there later. No, but remember, like obviously they're going to continue to double down on the bullshit. They really do believe that this case is going away. They think, hey, 2024 the case goes away, so now 2020, pardon, 2025 it's going away. Case is going away. They're going to keep doubling down on the dumb shit because they think the case is going away. That's my point. Okay, so let me see. All right. Now, what else was I trying to do? God, man. There's two things I want to get. So, hey, Tracy Thornton sent a super chat. Thank you. Thanks, Prof, for making my 2024 better. So glad I found this wonderful group of people. I'm hoping 2025 is full of blessings for you and your family. Well, thank you, Tracy. I'm sure it will be. Like 2025, we're right on the cusp, right? For some of you, it's already 2025. Um, Congratulations. For me, it's not yet. But yeah, thank you so much for the super chat. So, oh, you say, welcome to 2025, says Aaron Town. The first 6 hours of it were fine. Okay. Happy New Year, everybody. Okay, so I'm still waiting on it. So, all right, let's see. Her baby daddy says it's 11, but Happy New Year's. Happy New Year to all you Eastern time zone folks. There you go. That's the way to say it. All right. Geez, I've got so much to do. There's two things I need to still grab for you. I'm kind of like deliberating on how much I want to go looking for this crap. Okay, what's the other one? I got one of them, so now I need to find the. Um, the other one was. Oh, was it not her? Okay, well, who wrote that? They don't want to talk about what, Sleuzy? Oh, they don't want to talk about their people. Yeah, they don't want to talk about the troll farm. They never want to talk about the troll farm and all the death threats we've received from the troll farm. That's okay. I'll publish them all and save them all the trouble of wondering. Okay, very complex, very fucking complex. Yeah, the troll farm. The troll farm. The troll farm modus operandi. You know, yeah, we weren't working. Trust me, nobody's paying me over here. Yeah, Rozzy Baldwin. It's time to pay up, cuz. All right. Oh God, man. Where my money? All right. All right. Yeah, the other piece I want to find for you. I should have dealt with it earlier today when I could. Let's see. Hey, maybe I reposted it. We can go that route. Did I? No, sure didn't. Hey, Diane, thank you. You know who you are. Thank you, Diane. Okay. Well, let me see. Oh, God, man. Hey, Sleuty Goosey, are you still in here? I'm sending you a message. Thank you, Sleuty. Sleuty's going to help me find it because I just went look for it. I couldn't find it. I want to share a couple things with you guys that relate to this discussion. So that's why I'm bothering. Okay, so let's see. Give me a break, Lauren. You've taken side with the devils. This was your choice. It's the state side that issues death threats. Yeah, but no, they're pretending. See, you see how they're doing. What do you call it? Like it's the Darvo. Okay, thank you. Let me see if I can find that. Ooh, that's it. No, 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 that's not it. That's not it. Um, okay. Thank you, Prof. Well done. The content is nauseating, but it's important to look at. Okay. I shut it off too. I shut it off after 5, 10 minutes. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you honestly, the honest to God truth. I watched 5, maybe 7 minutes. Okay, and I couldn't take it anymore. I shut it off, and then I saw the transcript, and I was like, "Thank you." I cannot watch any more of this. All right. Um. Okay. Now let's see. We got So, but while I try to get the rest of the stuff, let me put this up because let me get into this. I'm still behind in the chat, and I apologize for that. I'm going to catch up to it, hopefully. All right. Happy New Year, everybody, though. Happy New Year, everybody. Okay. So, look, I want to put these things up because these things are highly concerning. Okay. While we look for the other stuff, because there's two things I want to rip. you know, I want, I want to, I want to criticize a couple things, but before that, let's look at this. So, since I titled this show "Transparency Matters," okay, there are some things. Okay, there are some things that are relevant. Okay, so this one here, remember that Baldwin and Razi requested that all evidence be preserved. Okay, so speaking of the potential destruction of evidence that's going to happen, okay, here is one point that I wanted to share, which is uh, your favorite judge yesterday issued a ruling, and that is that counsel's motion to preserve evidence was reviewed, and counsel's request to preserve all evidence is vague and therefore denied. Okay, so here's your transparency, and here, as if enough hasn't been deleted, okay, in this entire debacle. Nope, she's going to deny the preservation of all evidence, and that's what you got from that piece of work. Okay, and I'll show you this. This is the first page of what was asked for. Okay, where it says, um, defendant Richard Allen by counsel Andy Baldwin respectfully requests the court order the state, including any law enforcement agency, holding evidence in the above captioned cause to preserve all evidence for possible future testing. So in other words, imagine what she denied. Okay. Order the state, including all law enforcement, to preserve evidence for possible future testing, inspection, or admission in a hearing. Preservation of evidence by those who have it. But like I showed you, denied, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. Isn't that insane? Um, hey, where did you see that, Jay? Let's see if she'll hear me if she's still here. Where'd you see that, Jay? I was looking for that actually because I saw that posted earlier. Yeah, where was that, Christina? That's what I'm looking for actually. It's funny that you guys are bringing that up. That's what I was looking for. That's one of the things I'm looking for, but it's like I can't. I don't know where it is. Where is it? Mm. All right. So I'll skip. Okay, I'll skip. I'll skip it. I'm too busy. Let's see. I'm also looking for this one I want to talk about. Um, takes me too long to do anything at all. It's infuriating. All right, we're getting there. Jeez. Okay, here's the next one. Here's the next one. Now, the next one says, okay, I see a lot of individuals wanting to file FOIA requests for evidence. Here to advise everyone that I've already spoken to Judge Gold's court reporter, Miss Williams. She advised me no evidence, exhibits, etc., will be released without a court order. What date did Jody advise you of that? Monday the 23rd. Monday the 23rd. Wow. It gets better. I finally found what I was looking for. Okay. Um, sorry. I did find what I was looking for. It's going to take a second. Um, and I want to thank Sluty again. Damn, Sluty, this is your show tonight. Happy New Year. You made it happen. Okay, look. All right. You can't make this shit up. All right. So, first of all, let's see. Okay. We're going to do this. We're going to say select all. We're going to say print. This I want to show you. All right. Um, this is another one. So these people are you're going to see like what. Remember, transparency matters, right? This is to show you the proof or the lack of transparency. Okay, so like I said, you've already seen this one. Okay, Jody Williams says you ain't getting shit. Okay, you ain't getting shit on the 23rd. On the 23rd, right? Remember, Judge Gall is already saying we're not preserving all evidence. Okay, um, and let me get this last one for you. This was important too, and I just apologize. It took a second to find it because I misremembered where I saw it. But teamwork makes a dream work. Okay. All right. So let's get this up here. Where did it go? All right. Last one. Last one here. So what happened is this morning I saw this. This is from Woman Doing, and she said, "Check this shit out." Right? She said, "Check this shit out." So I did, and oh man, I was. This was something to read. So check this out. So what happened is all eyes. She said, "There's bullshit happening, right?" And check this out. Nick McClellan, I appreciate your request, but I am unable to forward you those records at this time. The records you are requesting is privileged information. APRA's investigatory records exception provides a law enforcement agency, including the prosecuting attorney, with discretion to accept from disclosure, quote, information compiled in the course of the investigation of a crime, close quotation. The records you request certainly contain information from the ongoing case against Richard Allen. The protection of records of an active investigation has been recognized judicially. Any release of information would compromise an ongoing open case and prosecution of Richard Allen that myself and my investigators have worked very hard on. In addition, many of your requests are not specific enough to comply with or is information that is not part of the investigation. Right? Secondly, when those records are able to be released, you will have to come to my office with an external hard drive that will hold the information. The information is too large to send via email. Okay. I didn't request records from your office, dumbass. I requested them from the sheriff's office. I will follow up through proper channels, even though y'all clearly have a hard time with that concept. In certain circumstances, the APRA grants public agencies discretion in determining which public records should be disclosed. The following are the most commonly cited discretionary exceptions found under 4B. Investigatory records of law enforcement agencies, records compiled during the course of an investigation of crime, are considered to be investigatory records. However, pursuant to IC 514.35, certain factual information relating to the identity of a person arrested or jailed and the agency's response to a complaint, accident, or incident must be made available to the public. The Seventh Circuit Court recognizes a First Amendment and common law right to access records submitted into evidence in open court. Once the evidence has become known to the members of the public, including representatives of the press, through their attendance at a public session of court, it would take the most extraordinary circumstance to justify restrictions on the opportunity of those not physically in attendance. That's us. Remember, there was limited seating, and she did not allow public attendance through the televised broadcast of trial. To see and hear evidence when it is in a form that readily permits sight and sound reproduction. Yeah, sight and sound reproduction. That means digital files, just like all the discovery was handed over that format. We can accept it in that way. In Continental Illinois, quoting U.S. versus Myers, where courtroom was open to the public, the witnesses repeatedly referred to the contents of the report, and excerpts from the report were quoted by counsel in open court. Litigants' impression that protective order would shield the report from the presumption of access, even when it was introduced into evidence and relied on to make a decision, was legally incorrect. So how's that for transparency? Do you understand what we're getting at here? Okay. You understand it? Do we understand? So we got it handled. Okay, we got it handled. How's that for transparency? If transparency matters, we need every single piece of evidence, every transcript, every single word, ASAP. So I want to thank you all for being here. And I'm going to follow through with the chat here, but I truly do want to thank you all for being here. I appreciate that. Let me see. I got something here. I don't understand what it is. Let's see what we got. Okay. Um, but yeah, Happy New Year to all, right? Happy New Year. Let's see how far behind I am in the chat. Just 30 minutes. So we'll catch up. What's up, Dead Zombies? Happy New Year. Maybe it was Kelsey and Bree instead of Abby and Libby. I like that Vinny called Dugout. What's up? But wasn't too happy about Court TV having gray pubes on air. No, no, not too happy about giving a platform to the pubes. Giving the pubes a platform is never a good idea. Uh, Mudbug is gifting these memberships to whoever. Right. Badge boys are busted. Badge boys, badge boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when the douche comes for you? Um, Faith Ross, thanks for the super chat. What are you saying? Had to tip you for the award-winning performance of whining HTC host. You had me laughing tonight. Great show. Well, thank you. I don't like making an ass of myself, but I mean I'm trying to do you guys a favor and not so that you don't have to go watch it. Plain Iron became a member. Thank you, Plain Iron. Okay. Glad I didn't watch that actual interview. I was waiting for someone on the right side to do something like this. I've been waiting for it too, but no one did it. So I had to be the one. I'd rather proud to be part of the due procedure thing or whatever the fuck they tried to call us. Yeah. All right. Well, Happy New Year to everyone. Okay. Okay. Does Homan identify? I am not a liar. Well, remember, it's he's doing exactly what Doug Carter did at the at the press conference. Doug Carter said, "We are not corrupt." He's not a liar. They speak highly. They think rather highly of themselves. They vouch for each other. Oh man. Oh man. That's the first thing a liar says. I'm not a liar, man. Yeah. Yeah, they'll be like, no offense, man. Anyone someone starts with that, the offense is coming. No offense, bro. No disrespect. But boom, here it is. That's how it works. Exactly. All right. Gotta crawl on them shards of glass for that motherfucker. Yeah. Crawling on them shards of hot glass. We're gonna take the glass, we're gonna put it in the oven, but not so that it melts. We're not getting it that hot, but we're just gonna get that glass hot and make sure it's shardy, and then we're gonna lay it all out and let Doug crawl over it. Okay. All right. Thank you, Christina. All right. So yeah, they're not giving anything. Okay. No one's getting shit because it's still an active case. And we worked really damn hard to railroad Richard Allen. So you ain't getting shit. Don't ever plan on getting shit. And there's a gag order, but it's been lifted. But we're still not going to tell you the truth. We're not going to let anyone talk to you. It's an ongoing case. You're not getting no transcripts. You're not getting no evidence. You ain't getting shit. You're going to stay in the dark. And this case is going away in 2025. Okay. All right. So Happy New Year. Who's your daddy? What's up? What's up? What's up? You emailed me, Prof. Well, thank you for emailing. I don't get. I put my device on whatever it's called, do not disturb, so I don't get notifications. Um, oh my god! Thank you for emailing me though, corner piece. Can I please share that criminal network? Fuck it. All right, you guys begged for it. You guys begged for it. All right, I got to do this to bring us out. Okay, I'll do that. It's worth it. Okay, it's worth it. Hey, it's time to celebrate, right? It's the new year, whatever. Blah 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 blah. So let's do this. I'll make this happen. Perfect. Okay. All right. Happy New Year, Prof, and everyone. All right. Let me make sure I'm on the up and up here. Check my text. For what? You guys got to understand. I put all my devices on do not disturb. Okay. Okay. Let me get back to do not disturb. Okay. Let's see. Are you saying there's no sound? Are you saying there's? Oh, there is sound. Come on, you guys are killing me. All right. Um. Yeah, I'm pretty far behind. How long was there no sound? Jeez. All right. I appear to be like 15 minutes behind, but I'm catching up. All right. So okay. Let me so I realized what it was that he was complaining about. So let's get it. Let's get it. Let's make it happen. Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, obviously, no, she didn't. She didn't allow the public to see the exhibits. She considered allowing the verified members of that press organization who were there to be able to quickly view that. That's fulfilling the obligation. And trust me, if transparency matters, make it matter. Prove it. Prove it. Okay, Indiana, prove it. That's my message to you. Prove it. Transparent gaslighting. That's what I see. Okay. They only want what Holman's putting out. That's anyway. Apparently, this is what he was upset about. Everyone, give a round of applause to Criminal Network. Criminal Network. Happy New Year, Criminal Network. There it is. You know what's funnier than the Shrek to me? It's that other guy. But he gets to complain about this, but I don't get to complain about the 15 death threats in the past year. I mean, come on. I mean, can we be real? Can we be real? Can we be real? Who's the victim? Who's the victim, Jerry? All right. I'm compiling things to send to her office as we speak. Wonderful. Okay. All right. All right. I made the same. I made something boring, entertaining with the voices. That's the only way I could cope with getting through it. I mean, hey, it's my New Year's Eve. Do you think I wanted to be reading those in a very serious, sober way. I got to be able to get through tonight. Okay. All right. So that's all I got, y'all. It's 3 hours and a half, 3.5 hours in. So that's pretty good. That was pretty good, and it's a happy New Year to everyone. It's inching towards my New Year. So happy New Year to everyone. Uh, some of you, some of you have already hit that New Year. I'm still waiting on it, but I'm going to have a wonderful 2025. Okay, we will. We will. Happy New Year to you in your time. Be safe in your travels, and may you all be prosperous in your endeavors. Thank you, Mudba. When does the case become inactive in Nick's eyes, or is it when Rick dies, when Nick dies, when I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jay. I see it, Jay. All right, I sure do. Happy New Year to everyone. All right. Oh yeah, please hit the like. Thank you, Teresa, for reminding. I always forget to do that. Please hit the like. Please do that. Um, and please support the channel. We've had a lot of support from our viewers, and I want to thank everybody for that. But we do have support pathways, and if you look here pinned at the top of the live chat, there's the Cash App and the Buy Me a Coffee. We also have the super chats and other ways to support the channel. So please send support for the channel. If you love the channel, send the support. This is our New Year's special. Transparency matters. So to who? That's another question. All right. Oh, she sent me a new email. Okay, I'll hurry. I'll hurry. Let's see. I look fine, man. I look fine. So we got I want to thank everyone for being here though, for real. Please hit those likes though. And if you're on the replay, please leave a comment down below. Those really help me to continue to engage in the live stream once it's done. Okay. All right. Now, look, let me put this up for you guys since he sent it. This is Criminal Network. Here's his video here, the one that we were just laughing at the thumbnail. Okay. There it is. It's there in the chat. So please check that out. That's Criminal Networks. All right. Now let's see what we got. Oh, when I was being really quiet because I was trying to find that stuff for you. Yeah, I thought it was important. I did think it. Sorry for not being better prepared. Hey, it's New Year's anyway. All right. So, two men who admitted walking on part of the bridge, Daniel Pearson and Richard Allen. Who has poofy brown hair? Daniel Pearson. Who has muscular build? Daniel Pearson. Merry New Year's. Exactly. Here's to a great show as well. Thank you, Starlight. Here's to a great one. Night all. Thanks again, Mudbug. And yes, here's to a great night and a great year for all of you. Okay. Here's to a great year for all of you. Okay. 2025, the year we don't forget about Delphi. Okay. Holman's attention to detail is so effing poor that he didn't realize it's Shrek head on his body, not his head on Shrek's body. Detecting his ass off. Yeah, I know, I know, I know. Hey, it's all documented. Look, that's the thing about this. The trolls like to say the internet is forever, prof. Yeah, it is. Good point there. Good point, trolls. The internet is forever. True story. True story. Thank you, Criminal Network gifted Sue, Iona, Judy Hathaway, Love True Crime, Susie Q. Damn, y'all girls in here? He gifted CAA, Laura Dawson, Kayla, BGPO, Cricket Day. Thank you for gifting the chat. That's amazing. That's amazing. I never have. I've got a gift one time. I think in Joe Lewis's. In Joe Lewis's, I got a one time. I got a gifted membership in Joe Lewis's. Okay. Happy New Year, Big JD. All right. So, wow, 2025, y'all. I am so amazed and grateful to be alive and well, and here doing what we do in 2025. I thought about it yesterday. I thought, wow, when I was little, did I ever imagine? And little, I don't mean 3 years old or something. I mean 13 or 23. When I was a younger man, did I ever even conceive or think of the year 2025? And I don't think I ever did. I don't think I ever thought of 2025 as a destination. But it's amazing how we travel through time in this beautiful universe of ours. We are the time travelers. And so we end up in 2025. And here we are. May the curtains be pulled back and all that has been hidden be revealed. Let it, yes, exactly. Great, great point, Miss K. Uh, May 2025 be the year that transparency matters. The year of transparency, 2025. We ain't going away. All right. Any release of information would compromise an ongoing open case and prosecution of Richard Allen that myself and my investigators have worked on very hard. That is the bullshit Nick says regarding the FOIA. Liked and subscribed. Thank you. Oh, let me also do that commercial. Please also make sure to subscribe to both channels. I have two channels, the Prof and the Prof True Crime. So please do me that favor as well. Uh, Subscribe to both channels. Please do that. It would help. Like we have 4,400 or so on the big channel. We have 2,400 on the small channel. So if I could get those 2,000 from the big channel to go subscribe to the small channel, that would be amazing. But I'd have to convince 2,000 people to go over there and hit subscribe. But I love having you all here regardless. And this has been a really nice show. I didn't enjoy reading the transcript, I must admit. But special thanks to Sleuthy for putting it together. I was glad that I stumbled upon it. And and this is what it's been. Okay, it's been a shit show. 2024 was it was a tough one. And Rick Snay and I are going to do a retrospective. Okay, looking back at 2024, I'm telling you, 2024 was a rough one, and I think a lot of you know, uh, many of you not just experienced it, but have witnessed us here. By that I mean me and some of us in the chat who've been here the whole time. You saw us go through these ups and downs. Many of you have, so you know that. You know that 2024 was a rough one. A roller coaster ride, a lot of ups and downs, and so 2025 is definitely going to be better. We got a lot of changes coming. So with that being said, God bless you all. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And the supporters tonight, I'd especially like to send a shout out and a thanks to our Mudbug for gifting some memberships and a super. And that one dude 75, Ninja Warrior Assassin, Heather Brown, Jenny 33, 26 Dead Zombies, Lead with Love, Faith Ross, Mino Dino, Lil Boy Blue 78, Corner Piece, and Tracy Thornton, and Faith Ross again, and Criminal Network for the gifted memberships, and also Plain Iron for becoming a member. Welcome to the memberships. So, God bless you all. Stay classy, right? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Stay classy, everyone. Love you here. So glad that we all have stuck together through thick and thin. And wow, there's a lot more to come. I'm sure there's a lot more to come. We got some surprises in store, but I ain't saying anything. Okay, we got a couple special guests on the menu, but I'm not saying anything. Okay, I'll leave that be a surprise. New Year's surprises for everyone. So again, thank you to everyone for being here. I'll shout you out as we get the hell out of here. We'll say so. Don't dox me, Miss K, Rick, Amy, Little Boy Blue, Five Green Acres, Heather Brown, um, Heavy Metal Rehab, Shibby, Mino Dino, Jay, Harry Potter's Beard, Corner Piece, Regina Bolden, Mino Dino, Tinkerbell. Who else is here? Mama Bear 2222. We got Digital, Rainbow Rising, Criminal Network, um, Mudbug, Don't Be Hating, Laura Dawson, Faith Ross, okay, Missouri Mimo of Nine, Digital. Did I say Digital? Sarah, and everyone else here much earlier. Kayla, what's up? Kayla was here. Spike Dog, Tracy Thornton. All right, Teresa, Kelly, Harry Potter, Big JD, Jen, Tatiana, Pavel. I know we had Christina was here. We had Dick Redshirt here. We had Noe Amos here. We had Alex Voorhees here. We had Who's Your Daddy, Larson Pat. We had Tammy Martin was here earlier. Who else was here? T. Ree. Um, anyway, I can't remember everyone, but a lot of those were here. And any of you who are saying good night, I say good night to you. God bless everyone. Happy New Year. Valencia's mom. Hey, Silenced is here. I see. Um, Gretchen Allen is here. Happy New Year to everyone. Okay. God bless. Hey, Tammy Martin. Thank you for the super chat. Look, Tammy Martin. Thank you, Prof. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Jen. Happy New Year, Jen. All right. Yeah. All you guys are so freaking awesome. Appreciate you here. Best chat on YouTube. I know it, at least in true crime, right here on this channel. But yeah, please do subscribe to both channels if you hadn't. I would just love that. I'd love to increase by 2,000 subs on the little backup channel. That'd be great. Teresa. All right. Where are those facts? Lauren can't read a room. Be sure to hit like on both channels. Everyone, try to go show up. Yeah, good point, Who's Daddy. Go in that comment section on the replays. And anyway, enough instructions to you. Don't you get tired of being told what to do by YouTubers? Okay. Don't hit the like. Don't do goddamn shit. Okay, don't. Let's stop telling people what to do, but do it anyway. So God bless you all. Love you. Happy New Year. Okay. Now, hug your kids, hug your wife. Bye bye.